Hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP's coverage of Australian Survivor Titans versus Rebels. I'm your host, Shannon Guss, here to talk about week one, fantastic week one, loving where we're at 3 episodes and like 4 or 5 hours into Australian Survivor. And I have such a great guest who we often get on these week one Australian Survivor podcasts. He is an absolute titan of podcasting, maybe a rebel, the bad boy of podcasting, I think some have said, but so thrilled to have Rob Cesternino here. Rob, thank you for being here.
The rebel of podcasting is here. I don't follow the rules.
I think you do.
You make the rules, I break them.
You're a big rule follower, I think.
I'm a big rebel.
I don't think that's true. Like, I really feel like well, it's like kind of like with Eden. It's like you're the titan of podcasting, but can anyone really be a titan of podcasting? Like, you're still doing it at home in your pajamas.
I'm a bit of a podcasting midwife, Shannon. I have helped birth almost 5,000 podcasts. Still a rebel, though.
So I feel like you're almost 5,000 on RHAP, right? You've probably done
I've done
15,000 podcasts.
Probably more. But
like, is this RHAP?
This is RHAP.
But usually it's not.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I actually don't. I'm kind of vague on the delineations.
These podcasts are making me thirsty.
Okay, so you've come in with some lines like Eden did. Which is great. Rob, I'm really excited to talk to you because we haven't podcasted in a few weeks, a couple months, which makes me sad. But also, more than that, do you know who I'm more excited to see than you?
Who?
Australian Survivor, Rob.
Okay, good. I'm excited. We're loosey-goosey. We're ready to go. Yeah. We're not stressed, depressed, lemon zest. We are good.
When you said you had a lot of notes, were they just quotes?
First off, I feel so fortunate to be here with you because that you could be talking to anybody in the world about this first week of a great new season of Australian Survivor. And I feel so special to be here with the queen of international Survivor. And so I can't wait to absorb everything that you have to say about these episodes like a sponge with a true titan.
No. Okay. Firstly, I don't know. I said even like Mike was a titan to my rebel. I've said I don't really identify with titan or rebel because they're just kind of like meaningless terms. But I'm excited to get your thoughts on this. Did you love this week?
I loved it. I really did. And I had a very fun experience with watching it. I watched most of this from Treadmill. So it was a little bit of a new experience for me. And so I set up a laptop desk on the Treadmill. So yeah, I got in at least 4 miles of this. I have to change it to kilometers, but it was. I felt very good, and I was very locked in for all of this.
That's great. I often do. I mean, I don't do Survivor on the bike because I'm like writing notes for Survivor, but I've done like the Amazing Race, and I feel like that exhausts me. Like that reminds me that I'm tired when like they're tired.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like this was very energetic. So I kind of feel like with the strategy, you would have been like ramping up to it. So I feel like it's a good workout show.
Yeah, it was a really, really fun week. We saw, I feel like that the, Australian Survivor that I guess there have been times when it does not go this way, but we really saw like the groups on the bottom get together and overthrow the cutlers and the athletes. So it's been a very fun start at this new season.
Yeah, no, we don't get this. I tweeted this, but we like, in Australian Survivor, like physicality is so important, and they have so many of these, like not like the 2024 version of Mactors, which I guess is influencers. Like usually, very much like the physical cool kids do dominate, even on the Brains Tribe, Rob. Even on the Brains Tribe, our one sacred place.
Yes.
Yeah. And even then, it was still like, you're nerds. It's like, what do you mean we're nerds? This is the Brains Tribe. And now on 2 tribes, I genuinely I feel like I'll remember it forever. I'll be like, remember that week where 2 insanely similar parallel scenarios played out where both Underdog cool kids, which are filled with like all the people I like let's not jinx, and they took down the cocky cool kids, which is like something I enjoy so much that it makes me wonder that like there's some like high school trauma in me, but like why am I so like why is this so satisfying to me? And then but the rebels to one up their Titan counterparts with a challenge throw with an idol in pocket. I genuinely, after it happened the second time, I laughed for like 20 straight minutes. So
wow.
I loved it. Well, I don't know. I'm being hyperbolic because I always am. But I have literally every time I think about it, I laugh. I truly think it's hilarious.
Yeah, and I do wonder if the meta has changed from some of these like last couple of seasons that we have seen, and sort of the ways that things have gone. I think probably in a large part because of like characters like George, where we've seen where the underdog groups have been able to overthrow the group of the like cool popular people, and to see it happen in both camps, that I do wonder if there is just like something in the water for these players that are coming into Australian Survivor now.
Oh, there's something. It's called an application, because applications were open for the first time pretty much since COVID. Like what happened was there were applications, and then there was like a COVID season that was the original Brains versus Brawn. And that season obviously never happened. And then they like took some of that cast and then filled it with recruits. And then they didn't have applications open for Blood versus Water. Last season was, I think, like obviously the returnees and recruits. And now these fans have applied and gotten in, and they're changing the meta because they've seen that and they know that, and they're those archetypes. So like people like Eden, Mark, Ferris. I don't think Kirby was much of a fan, but obviously she's a big game player. Someone like Eileen, who we haven't seen much of. Like there are like Caroline, like they're and they're in the archetypes. Like I think it's quite a diverse. Like it's probably the least like brawny, strong Australian Survivor cast I've ever seen. So there's enough people to be like, wait, maybe for once, this is our time. For twice. Incredible. Obsessed. Like we'll never forget this. I'll treasure it forever.
We had this. This was us.
Yeah. I'll always look back at the like Jewel, like the Revenge of the Nerds sequel that we got 3 episodes in was incredible. I also felt like, what did you think from a production standpoint? Because this was so clean, like not a like idols on each side, but like not a twist otherwise to be seen.
Yeah, I didn't even really think about that. I think more about it when the twists happen and they're bad, and then when they're not happening, I don't probably think about it until somebody brings it up. But yeah, I thought this was a great week, almost a perfect week of Australian Survivor.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it from an edit perspective, but pretty much no notes around. Like from a production standpoint, yeah, to talk about the absence of twists, it's important because they had like a thing where and you've covered a lot of the week ones, like week 1 of All Stars, they did the big twist, which was really fun, where like there was an idol at tribal council, and there was clues at the challenge, so both tribes could have had that opportunity, cross tribal bonds, which was amazing. Best week of All Stars by far, and possibly until this week maybe, and I still think the best first week of Australian Survivor, and this is probably second off the top of my head. But then you had like George was one where he took 6 people out of tribal council, blew it up, and then Blood versus Water had where there was 1 idol at tribal and 2 clues, and they were like wrestling over it. So the reason I say that is because it used to be like the production thing where the first episode always had like a big twist, and your mileage may vary on it because some were like, one was great, one was really bad, one was kind of mid. And then the last 2 seasons since David Forster took over, and it's been like a new kind of production, new EP, I feel like he's like, no, like first week, you get to know these players and they carry the story. And they did so well. Like the fact that this happened off the back of no twist, but just literally great casting for them to flip these kind of narratives on both sides. I thought that was really satisfying and shows that in Survivor, really what matters is a great cast. And it seems like we have that.
Great cast. I love the theme. You know what? Maybe it's because I miss the themes in US Survivor, the Titans versus the Rebels. It was so heavy-handed, but I was just like, oh, I'm loving this so much. Like the Titans, when they're losing the first 2 challenges. Oh, do you think that they're losing because there's too many leaders? There are too many
actually
Titans?
Were though, but it actually was true. Like it wasn't that they were just weaker. Like they kept making horrible decisions.
Look at these rebels. They're breaking all the rules.
They're breaking the rules of being rebels, and the rebels, like, because the rules of being rebels would be to be all over the place, but they're breaking even those rules to be congruous.
Just goes to show you take it away, we'll miss it. I was just like loving it. I like the color scheme of the 2 tribes, like this blue and this sort of like fuchsia.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm so happy. I love.
What about the immunity cup?
The trophy? Yeah. Was that a Stanley Cup that they ended up putting for immunity? It's very valuable.
Yeah. This was like It's got, like, we kind of do this in, like, I don't know if you got, like, what's your, like, Super Bowl cup? I guess I'm gonna find out when I watch the Chiefs in a couple weeks. Go
Okay,
Chiefs.
so it's called the Lombardi Trophy,
But is it
and
a cup?
it's not a cup. It is a silver football that sits upon a obelisk.
Okay, our, like, AFL trophy is a cup, and actually the cup tours. Do you guys do this?
No, well, so in hockey,
because I once went to see it and I held it.
This is where it's going to get a little confusing. So in hockey, they have a big giant trophy, and it too is also called the Stanley Cup. Now this is very confusing.
And it's a cup.
It's like a giant. It's like a cooler. It's like a trash.
Yeah. So is in AFL. It's like a huge, like, cup. Like, you could never drink all the liquid.
Like with a punch bowl on top.
Yeah. Okay. And does that tour?
Yeah, they like take it to people's houses, and then people drink out of it, and everybody gets it.
Won and their cup or trophy was touring, would you go visit the cup?
I don't know if I would make a, like, pilgrimage to go see the trophy.
What if it was like 30 minutes? Because I drove, it was actually 30 my old
minutes
university.
away. I would go see the trophy.
That's what I went when my team won way back a few years ago. I went and I got a photo with the cup.
Must be nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Jets fan too until the Chiefs take over.
Mm-hmm.
So I might be winning a Super Bowl soon, but I'm very fair weather, Rob. What were we saying before cups?
You talking about the immunity idol,
and then Titans. I don't know, production, but the theme actually kind of did play out in that the Titans were, like, such a mess because of this, like, I don't even know. I mean, is it bad communication and leadership styles to put all of the guys on the part of the challenge that doesn't require strength? Like, that just seems like idiocy to me. But and then they left the ball behind. They almost lost the challenge the other tribe were trying to throw. I think the challenges have actually been really fun. And I say actually because they are very long, but, like, I don't know. It's like, because it's had, like, strategic implications, like, they've been very entertaining too.
Yeah, it's been a really, really fun start. And I was really, like, way into the Titans tribe. Like, I was sort of like in the third episode, I'm like, when the rebels were going to go tribal council, like, I got to see the Titans. That's my tribe. I want to see more about them. But then the rebels delivered. So it's great.
Yeah, I want to talk about that from an edit perspective, because I feel like from an edit, like, obviously there are people missing because this is Australian Survivor. But, like, it's a very clear story at the moment with what we have. With, as you said, you don't mind at all the main character kind of side character.
Pretty good for Australian Survivor for 24 people, right? Like, I think we have maybe, like, let me give you the top 5 people that we don't know. Okay. Yeah. All right, here we go. My top 5 list.
Drum roll, please.
In no particular order. 5 people that
you don't know.
Are you sure they're on this show? Okay.
I'm pretty sure they are. But
all right. I guess number 5, I'll say Scott.
Yep. Okay, so Scott, do you want to know something about Scott? Should I introduce you to Scott?
Right?
Come on down. Yeah, he has a hat.
Yes.
And he's an art director of a very prominent art museum here. He's a super fan. He actually seemed really fun. I hope we get to know him.
Honestly, I don't even think I can get to 5. That's they're pretty good. I'll say
I can think of 4.
Aileen.
Eileen. Well, that's already, we don't know her enough to know how to pronounce her name.
Sorry.
No, how would you know? How would you know, Rob?
They do say Eileen. There's a few like, come on, Eileen.
They did say, come on, Eileen, which I podcast with Mike Bloom last week. Let's just keep it moving. Eileen is great. I hope we meet her soon. She loves cats. She fosters cats. She's a huge super fan. Yeah. She's me if I was outdoorsy and physical and cool. Not that cool. She's still part of the nerd group, but... And Eileen, I hope we meet you soon.
Honestly, I don't know if there's too many others that are like we didn't.
Kitty's the third, I think.
Yeah, I think that the combo of, like, Kitty and Caroline are kind of like one person. There's okay, I know that there's two women that are in the middle-age mafia. Shannon,
talk about it.
How would you say your game changed? I'd say for the better when you joined the mafia with Mark and I.
Okay, so I can just cut our entire question segment because that was a lot of the questions that we got. Was that. This was the predecessor. This happened August. Bowie Jane, we already had a middle-aged mafia. Jag, Matt, all of you. I think I've kind of buried Big Brother in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that information accessible to me. Yeah, I think Kitty for me especially, like I think we get more from Caroline. Like you see them as one person, but we mostly are getting Caroline. Like I'm letting you know that. Mm-hmm. But I think so what it is with the Titans is we got so much Titans in the first 2 episodes that we really got to know them at the expense of the Rebels. But we got the Rebels in episode 3. So I kind of feel like it's this editing style where it's like, take it as 3 episodes, like take it as the first week. And like by the end, you have a more comprehensive view. And the Titans, we were lucky because it broke down into these sub-alliances. So you can really think like, if you're trying to think of the whole tribe, you had the 7 and then the 7 even has like its duos and like subgroups. And then you have the people on the outside. Like it's very easy to work it out. Whereas the Rebels, people might be a little bit more missing because it's more like this big 8, the people on the outs and like some big characters. But I honestly think I couldn't find a confessional chart, and I did really try. If anyone's making confessional charts or knows where they are, please send them to me. But we have said in Australian Survivor that we often feel we know people beyond confessionals. There's more time, things like tribal so long, there's match chats, like there's other ways to get to know people. And like I do think sight unseen from a confessional chart, like the people you describe, like those are to me the only people we don't know. And I do feel like we have a fairly good sense of everyone else.
Yeah. Maybe, how about Rihanna a little
Rihanna
bit?
would have been my 4th, yeah.
Yeah.
But we know she's tied with Kirby.
Yeah. And I might
Do you want to get to know Kitty and Caroline?
Charles the lawyer, I think, is a
Charles
little bit.
is also, those are the 5. Charles is
even though he got like one of the first like
he
get
did.
to know you segments. Yeah.
Charles is a lawyer, super fan. You know he's a lawyer. That's the one thing we know. He's a big super fan. Hope to meet you soon, Charles. And then Kitty and Caroline. Caroline's a huge super fan. Are you seeing a trend? She's a midwife. So you know she's a midwife. And then Kitty is like a really successful businesswoman.
Yeah.
Like a health coach.
Mm-hmm.
So those are I think it's probably just those 5. Like I think we have a very good sense of the rest. Winners we have a bit of, but he's like so vaguely.
How was the winner edit?
It was really confusing.
Yeah.
It was really, really confusing. We don't know where winner's at. So we're going to talk.
Did you think it was a winner edit?
No. I mean, he found an idol in a banana. He's a competitive eater and he found an idol in a banana. Like this is why people say the show is scripted.
He almost died because he's a competitive eater. He's going to eat so fast and then they put a thing in there and nearly killed him.
Can you imagine? That wasn't a great idea. That was dangerous. I feel like it was cute. It was cute. And like the banana idol, I feel like we always go to cookies on Australian Survivor. And I like that.
We finally give these survivors some fruit for their diet.
Some potassium. No, I mean, usually we go to cookies and then on Talking Tribal, like they give us cookies as like a bit. Mm-hmm. That's literally happened so many different times, at least 2, which is weird. So I would rather they stick with the sweets. Like give me a cake idol and then let me eat cake on Talking Tribal. Yeah. But so that was winner. What else do we have? I just kind of felt like for me, I just don't understand how these 2 like parallel stories happen so simultaneously. Like I feel like we'll talk about it, but like Kelly and Jess are in a very similar spot where it's like they're also being like really bad at the game, but were like saved by this like other bigger issue with the cool kids. And then you have like Nathan and Alex in the exact same spot with the exact same confessional about like can't wait to go to tribal, and then the exact same like kind of blind. It was great. Blindside face was amazing.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about Kelly?
We want to start with Kelly?
I guess so, because that Kelly, I think is really being set up for that. She is going to be our breakout star of the season. Yes.
No, mileage may vary on Kelly.
Well, here's why. Because Alex tells us like pretty early on, he's like, I give it about 2 more tribals. Like, or he's like, she's out one of the first 3 tribals. The fact that they put that in, she's in the final 5. Okay. Mark it down.
Well,
she's getting so much.
She's getting so much, but that's not surprising. Yeah. I said preseason, like if you are the kind of player who can like skate by in these early episodes, I said it as like if you're saved by a twist. Because a lot of people have been like sent to the other tribe. They just saw this on UK Survivor, and that's what made me think about it. But like make it to the final 4. Like that has happened in Global Survivor 4 times in not that many.
Right.
Like that's crazy stats. They never win. But like that's like long for the game. So for Kelly, is she going to be saved here in like by having the numbers? Like if the cool kids, the cuddlers are a bigger priority. In saying that, I kind of feel like she's still in danger. Like I feel like she could definitely still go like from a game
in danger,
perspective.
but we still have to set up where she meets Nate. We got so much about Kelly. Like I feel like that Kelly is in this for the long haul.
That is,
she has plot armor.
That's I definitely see that. I feel from like a game perspective, I could see her like, you know, if they don't want to get rid of like the big guys in Alex and Tobias, they still have Sarah as an option. But and she's kind of annoying to people. Like you can tell, like even her allies are like,
I love her.
I don't know that they want to deal with it.
I loved her. I wonder if this tribe might get rid of Raymond before they get rid of Kelly, if they're going to turn things back around.
I don't think so. I think that Kelly might be the kind
everybody
of thing
does not love Raymond.
Peter didn't. Something was going on with Peter and Raymond. I'm sorry that I didn't get that X interview to find out. Like she was like seemed really anti him. She's gone. I feel like Kelly, it's kind of like a Jess thing. Like I felt like after, because they're the same tribe, after Frankie left, I felt like Jess would definitely go next. And I think that regardless of what was happening with throwing out Eden's name, like she was gone next. Like we know that because Eden was voting for her without even knowing she'd thrown his name, and that made sense to him. So now we're at a position where do they want to vote out their strong people, or do they want to vote out Kelly, who's a number for them, but who also is erratic and maybe annoying them? And I think it could go either way because they're a stronger tribe and they're 2 tribal councils down the road on like a Jess vote. So they're closer to a swap where they don't have to think like, oh, we're having to get through like 5, 6 tribal councils without someone like a Nathan. So maybe they could vote out like an Alex. Yeah. But I don't know that she's home, but I do agree that the best thing that she has going for her is the edit right now. I completely agree.
Great. It's great edit so far. And I also just, where we have this very interesting, like Kirby double agent plan. And, you know, we have had this, like real trend in international global Survivor, like all of the franchises now, where more and more players are like throwing their votes away for various reasons, where okay, they're gonna like go with they're voting for people that they know aren't going to go home. And so she has this very interesting plan to stay in the good graces of the cuddlers, to be able to I think they put a couple of her and Rihanna put a couple of votes on Raymond, right?
They were splitting Raymond Kelly. So they were like, they put where their votes were meant to be the split.
Yeah, knowing that it was going to be PETA who went home. Yeah. So I kind of feel like if you're going to be a mole, if you're going to be a double agent, like what's the fun of being the mole if you're just going to vote out Kelly next?
Well, the fun would be, I guess, that then you can like maybe blindside them more. Even though they wouldn't even think they have a majority, they think it would be 5 to 6. Mm-hmm. Did you like this plan? Can we discuss? Because
let's talk about it, because it did seem a little mustache twirly to go ahead and do it.
That's Ian.
Yeah, but
you're thinking about the wrong central person on these parallel tribes.
Yeah,
he's Eden.
I think it's interesting. I mean, I just don't know what kind. It seemed like that PETA was like her person in that 4. I didn't really understand why she wanted to go after PETA as opposed to Sarah or to any of the guys in the Cuddlers. It was a rough week for the women.
Well, let's talk about that too, because I spoke about this a bit on Talking Tribal, but we've seen this so many times. Like, hasn't Aussie lost partners to this? Like, get into a showman style alliance with a bigger guy and lose the power because you're in a minority. Paramoan, like that, you know, like people don't. I don't know how people don't know how to count, but if you do that, it's like having an anti-shield. It's like they literally can't go before you. Someone like a Nathan over Frankie, like they could not make that move. They couldn't afford to lose. And even though Frankie is a strong woman, she's the weakest now in a group that it consists of Nathan, Jade, and herself. So it becomes a really tough spot for the women in these like showman style alliances. And I will say Alex has a girlfriend. I don't know what's going on there. But
yes.
I don't know if it was explicitly romantic, but they were cuddling and they were calling each other Barbie Ken. I was like, I don't know that I'd love it.
Look, these Survivors, they're wilding out, Shannon. But so I just want to go back to Frankie, justice for Frankie, because I mean,
we have so much. What about Kirby?
But I'm just saying that in fairness to Frankie, this week, that she I feel like did not do a lot wrong. And I feel like that, and she was not in a romantic partnership with Nathan.
Maybe one-sided.
Nathan was excited. I think Nathan is easily excited. It seems like I think Kelly has a shot with Nathan, to be honest, because that Nathan seems like that he's open to anything.
Any port in a storm.
He was any port in a storm. He was very excited about the prospect of Frankie. She was hot. He didn't look. He got to sleep near her. She has a boyfriend though.
He said he didn't get to sleep near her.
Oh, I thought he did.
No, that was. I genuinely. Nathan is comedy gold. Mike compared him to Drew Christie. The montage of him and Frankie, who were together for one night.
Yeah.
When he said sleep next to you, she went home on date 2. So that was a one night. It wasn't like consistent. It couldn't be. And
not his first one nighter, I suspect.
Yeah, that was like literally a one night stand. And I feel like the record scratch between. Oh, she was like a sister to me, and then like she was hot though. So was she really like a sister? Let's choose our words a little differently in the current state of where Survivor is at. Now, we don't want to get a reputation for the way survivors view their family members. Mm-hmm. Nathan, please.
Yes, please.
So, but yeah, okay. There's so many things. So I don't know. We've.
I'm sorry. I took us off the track by bringing up Frankie.
Okay, so we want to talk about Kirby. I want to talk about Peter, and I want to talk about Frankie. You choose which one we talk about.
No, let's keep talking about Kirby, because when I'm guesting on these podcasts, I'm like I'm a rebel. I bounce around and talk about topics.
You're not a rebel. You're just simply not a rebel. I'm sorry.
I think the listeners would say I'm a pretty big rebel.
What's the most rebellious thing you've ever done that's not take this podcast into different directions?
Let's see. What's the most rebellious thing that I've ever done?
I also don't have a good example. I'm not a rebel. I'm not a rebellious person. I like rules.
A million things. I fight the mainstream podcast.
You're the man.
I'm an unofficial podcast.
No, you are the man of Survivor and reality TV podcasting.
No,
I'm so sorry.
No, very unofficial.
Anyway, Kirby, let's keep talking about. You know what? How I had intended in my very ordered, non-rebellious way to talk about this week was in the order of the episodes. So
okay,
do you want? So that would be Frankie. So should we talk about Frankie?
Go for it. I'll follow your lead.
I felt like Frankie. She did less wrong than Nathan, although that's an incredibly low bar.
Yeah, I felt like that it was a little bit of like a telephone game with the, I feel like that Jess had said to Nathan about there are strong women in this tribe. And I feel like that like sort of like the telephone game got into, we need to get rid of the strong women on the tribe.
Jess wanted to get rid of Frankie. And that worked with what she was saying, like there was like homogenous skills.
Mm-hmm. I was most surprised really that the killer V's, Viola and Valeria, I got that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was actually very surprised that they ended up voting the way that they did. I really thought that they were going to be loyal to the Frankie, Nathan, Jaden, Winna group.
Well, we don't know that they'll win. Oh, you mean Winner? Yeah, this is gonna whole season. I hope Winner goes home soon. I can't take this is like the way of now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the salsa seltzer of Australian Survivor.
The what of salsa?
Sometimes if you it's very hard to order salsa and not get seltzer.
I never have either of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like salsa and seltzer. Okay, I hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had. I don't like spicy food, and I don't. Anyway, but
you ever try to order seltzer in a Mexican restaurant?
No, never.
Mm-hmm.
Never once. We're learning so much today. So yeah. Okay. A couple of things here. So for the V's, I thought this was great. I mean, it's the kind of thing where, like, for both tribes, again, like it made so much sense for everyone involved. Like for the V's, it's hard because so we see that Frankie and Nathan, like Frankie's like she's out on like Valeria, right? Yeah. Frankie told me in her exit that she liked Valeria. She wanted to work with Valeria and V. She didn't mind that. And And it's hard for me to like kind of work through Frankie's X interview because I feel like it's like what I got from it is like some combination of like, I don't know that she was and is as aware of like how socially detached she was from people. She's like, I like this person. It was fine. And it's like, true, but we do see you throwing people under the bus. We do see you very detached. Like the way she talks about the V's, is she says to Nathan, like, make them feel like we're part of their alliance. Like that's not a genuine, cohesive, like real thing like they're creating with this actual 7. Then I think the storyline probably happened if you hear it from like the 7, the ragtag underdog 7, they probably co-sign a lot of what happened, but the edit is definitely going to make that really stark in a way that's super satisfying.
Yeah.
And then I also think that Frankie suffers for Nathan in a couple of ways. Nathan was atrocious, truly bad, and worse than her, but she's going to go because she erroneously makes a minority alliance that's super transparent with people that are stronger than her. They are anti-shields. I feel like we need like the proper term for that, and that like they literally can't go before her. So she suffers for that. And I also think she suffers for the fact that she and Nathan don't really seem to be on the same page of who they're prioritizing. Like Nathan's prioritizing Eden, we hear Charles. She said she liked the women, Caroline, Kitty, the V's. So there's no actual like synergistic group that they are actually creating. They have different priorities of people they might want to work with, but their minority 3 or 4 is so clearly their only real thing that they care about. And that's why they're going to go. So for Frankie, yes, is Nathan worse than her? True. But like putting yourself in that position and then becoming like the weaker somehow person in your group, like you will suffer for that. And I think it's important. And then for like the V's, while they liked Frankie and I thought that she did good work with the V's and that they were into it, it also just feels so obvious that firstly, there's 6 votes without them, 6 of 12. So they're not really swings in the way it might have been presented. And they're close with Mark, who is in a bad spot if Frankie and Nathan have power. And they're never going to have a lot of agency in a group that doesn't really prioritize them. And I'm sure that Eden is giving them the ammo of like names he's hearing in an alliance that they're not even part of. So I kind of felt like it was a no-brainer for the V's, to be honest.
Yeah, Valeria, I think, said in her voting confessional that Frankie was too hard, too fast, right?
Yeah, and well, yes. I mean, she did a lot wrong. Like I felt like
too hard. Too soon.
I know that this might be so judgmental, but I love to judge.
That's what we're here to do.
Yeah, like it's my job, and I don't know how I got a job of judging people, but it was made for me. Like when her and Nathan, and she's so just like they're just so dismissive. Like so much of this week for me was about language. Like look at the way she and Nathan talk about everyone, especially Nathan. But he's like, "We'll get the old lady." Caroline is in her 50s.
What about the weak people?
Yeah, the weak people. And Frankie says that weak. Like it's the way that you view these people. Are they humans or are they?
They're titans, Shannon. This is how they talk. Do you hear me talk that way? No, that's why I'm a rebel.
Literally before the podcast, you said that old lady. You were talking about people being weak. That's how you
Shannon, leave my wife out of this, okay?
People don't know you off mic. You're a very different person. That's how you talk about people when they're not listening. Now I'm just defaming you, which is fun. Yeah, but like the way that Frankie was
hearing from Charles very soon.
I want Charles as my lawyer. It's not fair. You didn't even know who Charles was.
No, that's not true.
You put him in the group of people you don't know.
I put him in the group of people that didn't get a lot in the edit. I love Charles. I adore Charles.
Now you love Charles. All right. Well, you take Charles as your lawyer, and I'll take Eden because I'm trying to see some free movies. Eden, discount? I keep saying discount. No one's telling me no if I get a discount. I looked it up. Well, I didn't look it up. I saw it on social media. I think he manages Village Cinemas. Okay. Eden, do you manage the Jam Factory? Because discount, I could make it there. Anyway,
that's payola. All of a sudden now he's getting Chizy points.
Oh, he is. Yeah. Discount? Anyway, okay, we'll work it out in some sort of Chizy point per movie per discount.
No, Shannon, I'm not going to let you throw your integrity away like that.
For movies? For free movies? You know how expensive movies have become? They're very. Is it the same in America? They're very expensive here.
No, I think a lot of things got expensive.
Yeah, inflation. Anyway, I don't remember where we were. She doesn't. Movies, what I was saying. Okay, so I was saying that you're a bad person working back. The way she didn't know their names, and like I know she's bonding with Nathan and that, like
she's like, who's
so dismissive.
Who?
She didn't know one name.
No, I mean some of these people did have purple edits though. You have to remember.
She's like, she's creating the purple edits in her mind. Like, they don't think the audience can get to know everyone. She couldn't get to know everyone. She's there. So maybe that's why they're concerned about introducing us to everyone so quickly. Mm-hmm. So I felt like Frankie did make mistakes, just not in comparison to Nathan, who was so bad. I mean, it's all been spoken about, but might as well go back over it. Like the fact that this was pointed out. Did you see this when he's laying out the hierarchy, like in the order of names, like Jervis style to Eden? Mm-hmm. But it also is using his hands, and he literally is like Frankie, Jaden, me, Caroline, you. He like puts a hand down.
Yeah. So, well, is it Eden or Aiden? I want to make sure I say
Eden.
Eden.
Eden okay. Discount? No.
Eden, he even repeated it back. He's like, he said all the names and he put me last.
Yeah, and down on with the hands, mm-hmm. which is literally what, where they went to Rocks and Blood versus Water. And Eden has seen Blood versus Water. He's a big fan. And like, yeah, the when he said to Caroline and Kitty, he's like, we'll carry you through. Now, Nathan, Caroline and Kitty think they're playing, and rightly so, they're there to play their own game. So you understand how they don't see themselves as side characters in like your thing. Like they are main characters in their thing. Like they're actually there doing this too. It's been quite a big commitment for them.
Yeah, but I thought it was also pretty exciting that this came together for this first vote. I mean, from Frankie's perspective, she thinks this is an open and shut case. This is going to be like a unanimous decision against Jessica. And it was like rather impressive the way that this group came together.
I loved it. I like thinking about Caroline, like I put the screenshot on Twitter, but the way that she's looking at Nathan when he says he'll carry her, and she's like death glaring him. And then later she literally says, F that. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. And then, the way that it came together, I mean, we should talk about Mark, who I don't think can give me any discounts, but I'll still heap the praise on him. Like discounts in diplomacy. I don't think he is as much use to me, but
depends who you're fighting with.
That's true. I could get into trouble. Mm-hmm. Does diplomacy count if we're in a legal battle? Like you're in America, Mark, help me out here. Mm-hmm. Like if you have Charles and I have Mark, we could really make this a thing. Mark was great. Thoughts on Mark?
Oh, I really just am so impressed with Mark. And that I, really have admired watching George on the show in these past seasons, because I think that he's just so interesting to watch on the show. And often he makes decisions, and I don't know if I agree with the decisions, but I enjoy watching him make them on the show. Mark, to me, is just that I have so much admiration for this type of style of play. And I don't think it's going to be flashy, but I just think he is shrewd AF. And I really admire Mark. I love people like this in real life, that are people like, oh, you are like super competent and professional. Like I am just in awe of you. I would would be dying to work with Mark on Survivor, or like a Mark in the real world.
High praise for Mark, who, from what I understand, is a big fan of Survivor. So that's cool. And I underestimated Mark so hard because, like, in his preseason stuff, like it's not like a bold thing. Although Mike said it kind of might be. There's like a bold curse, and it's like you look.
A bald curse?
Yeah, but the bold players go home early.
Like bald?
Yeah, bald. Yeah, I just feel like he looks like he's duplicitous.
Like, did Tony have the bald curse?
No, in Australian Survivor.
Oh.
You're right, though, Tony. So there you go. That's the blueprint of bold success.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I felt like for Mark in his preseason content, and he's a diplomat, and I felt like coming after George, like his preseason content, he was like, I'm going to pull the strings and no one's going to know. And I was like, they definitely will know. Like, you're so clearly smart and you have like legitimate skills for the game, but like they will know that. They'll vote you out. And I didn't think, and we did make fun of his swimming, and that immediately played out. So I was very wrong about Mark, and I'm happy to be wrong. But I felt like he wanted to be this kind of like in the shadows type strategic master, and he literally did that. Like, how satisfying that must be for him to like
in the
make
invisible
that
hand.
Yeah, literally. Do you like that nickname, the alliance name, Invisible
Hand?
Hand?
He has hand.
What?
Invisible hand.
Yeah, but what? Like, yeah, he does. But you like the nickname, the alliance name?
I love it.
That's
I love all
fine.
the alliance names so far.
You like middle-aged mafia?
Like the mafia.
I loved the name. I laughed and laughed. And then I was like, how old is Mark? And then I'm like, that man is 35. And then I thought, no, don't do that. And then I spiraled pretty hard. Like, if I go on Survivor,
I've debated
in 2
this
years,
with Akiva. I think 35 is middle age.
Don't do that. Do not do that to me. Do not do that to me. Mark is a very
what's the life
established
expectancy in Australia?
Not 70.
Well, what is it?
Probably pretty high. 72? It's good here. Don't do that. I'm gonna Google it. And then I'm gonna spiral some more. 35 is not middle-aged. And also, I think it's just because Mark looks like he's so impressive, and you wouldn't think Mark is 35. He's a diplomat. How can he be so successful when he's 35? What am I doing with my life? Oh my god, how long am I gonna live?
No, you're right. 83 is
83. I've got decades left.
You're beating the pants off us.
Wait, what's yours?
77, and it's going down.
Wait, we have a 7-year life expectancy difference to America.
Don't brag. Come on,
no,
that's
I'm not
coming, Shannon.
Why does anyone live in that country? You could be here. We have a 7-year difference? That's absurd. So I kind of would be middle-aged in America, but I'm not middle-aged here. Okay, well, I don't know how to feel about that.
It was better a couple of years ago, but it's gone down.
That's really concerning.
Canada's 81.
That's so close to America, and yet
we're rebels, okay? What do you want? We live dangerously. Don't tell us what to do.
Wait, how are you not having an existential crisis right now?
Me?
Yeah. 77? That's very young.
Yeah. Are you saying I'm having an existential crisis because I'm approaching the life expectancy? Is that what you're saying?
I'm starting to get a little bit sad. How much time do we have left, Rob?
I'm making the years count, okay?
You got to. You have to. They're limited.
This is my 4th podcast today, all right?
You said you were going to podcast less, not 8 podcasts a day, and now you're doing 4. This is your 4th podcast today? That's what's going to kill you. That's what's going to take you out. You're lowering the life expectancy by podcasting too hard.
Yeah.
Rob, take it easy. You need to be more.
It's not the years, it's the mileage.
I mean, I don't want to, we can get the lawyers out, but if you.
Charles is doing good.
I'm just saying that if you actually are middle-aged then, for your country.
I mean, I could fight you, but I don't think I would win that case. I don't think that Charles could win that case.
Okay, but I'm not approaching middle-aged. Yeah. I am 30 years old. I'm 31 this month.
If you come to our country,
I'd be
then you might be.
I never will. I'm never setting foot in America. That's absurd. Mark is not middle-aged. Not for Australia. Not in general. No one would classify 35 as middle-aged. This was extraordinarily insulting to me.
Okay.
And I'm glad he's part of the alliance. Eden's 39. Is Eden middle-aged? Not in Australia. So
I mean, I think that it depends on what your definition of middle is.
I think you can probably Google this.
Yeah,
I think that's probably a.
I mean, Google it. I don't know if you're gonna like the results.
No, I think I will because I'm 30 years old. I don't think I'm close to being middle-aged. Middle-aged, 45 to 65. This says. Well, that
it sneaks up on you.
Don't do that. I've literally I'm clearly so insecure about my age on the podcast, and I don't hide it. Turned 30 on the podcast last year. You're doing it.
I'm telling you that you're doing great. Look at all you've accomplished.
Oh, not enough, Rob. I think about it all the time. But also, the first question that comes up when No, I'm not. What is middle age? But thank you. The first question that comes up is 35 considered middle age. Literally.
Yes.
Are you listening to me?
Yes.
And it says the stages of adulthood explained here. Early adulthood, 22 to 34. Early adulthood with the 22-year-old.
Shannon, you're losing the plot. Okay, it's the first week of Australian Survivor. People want to hear you talk about it.
Early middle age, 35 to 44. Shit. Really? Early middle age, 35 to 44? And then late middle age, 45 to 64. And then late adulthood, 65 and older.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So U.S. Survivor is in its older middle ages.
Wow, early middle age is 35 to 44. Oh my god, the alliance name was actually right. And
Yeah.
I am gonna die soon.
Oh, come on. Come on. Yeah, Shannon, we're excited. It's Australian Survivor.
I'm scared for us. I'm scared for you.
Shannon.
Okay, it's fine. Just podcast
Look
less,
at the
Rob.
good times we're having.
Don't put yourself in dangerous situations.
Yes.
Get regular health checks. Don't leave the house.
I do. Okay.
Okay, you're gonna have to help me work back to what we were talking about before.
We were that I said I liked all of the alliance names. I like
we were
the
talking about
Invisible Hand, and then the Middle Age Mafia. And
I don't think I like the Middle Age Mafia name because it resulted in that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd not been thinking about that before, and now it's all I can think about.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
when you're a rebel, age is just a number. Don't let them define you.
That's one of my least believed things, that age is a number. I think age is super important. Clearly, it literally is the material of your existence.
I guess so, but I think there's a lot. Listen. Take it from me, an older middle-aged person.
No, don't do it. Not Rob.
It's how
no, you're
how
a
you feel. It's how
you're between early and late middle age.
I think you're between early and late middle ages. Yeah.
Okay. So you're middle age.
Yeah. Look, you're Shannon, right. It's getting to podcast with all of you that keeps me so youthful.
Why? I'm old too. If I ever go on a lot and Survivor, I'm gonna be in the middle age mafia, and I'll just freaking walk straight into that ocean. I don't need to vote me out. But do you want to be in alliance with us? It's called the middle age mafia. I'll be like, no, actually I don't. I'm gonna pen it, and I'll be like, actually, think I'm good. Okay. So we were talking about the invisible. Oh, we're talking about
good note. If you're in an alliance with younger women, don't call your alliance the middle age mafia because they will then jump ship. I don't think that's ever happened before. Of like, hey, we're the old people. I'm not in this alliance. Screw that.
So Rhea was on the older woman tribe. She was 35.
Yes.
I think Melinda was even younger. I genuinely hate the patriarchy. I hate society. Yeah, if you're gonna be in an alliance with me, young hot people. Okay. Feels like it writes itself. The young.
Why is the patriarchy catching strays on this?
It's harder to age as a woman. It is.
I guess so.
Okay, don't say I'm right about this. Okay, believe me. I've lived almost 31 years as a woman. That's very many years. Okay, I can tell you for a fact.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. Though I've worked it back. We're talking about Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark, I'm gonna get to all the thoughts I've had. I really liked. And he vocalized it so well. But I felt like Frankie is obviously a bigger threat than Nathan, despite also Nathan you need physically. But I felt like Frankie's possible connection to the V's was a concern, and he eliminated that. I thought that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And he vocalized it. So he was thinking about it, which was great. Okay, that's Mark and my life. I want to also Jess on her ex interview said she felt particularly close to Mark.
Yeah.
So he did well too, I feel.
Well, I love that they also set her up to be the scapegoat of this entire vote, where then to blame her after. And she also was like, I'm the mastermind here. I'm running this tribe.
They did well with that. I think they had a lot to work with.
Yeah.
With her. I think that she was primed and ready to be believed. So, because they saved Jess originally.
Yeah.
Which was, again, I think really good. I also think for all of their conflicting priorities, both Frankie and Nathan did not seem to prioritize Mark. So Mark would have been in a very bad spot. So great job that he turned that around. And then then Jess, I always felt right after Frankie, Jess would follow. Because I was they can't get rid of Nathan and Jaden. Or probably winner from a physical standpoint. Jess was never included in the 7 that they named in that vote that they've clearly become. She had no allies.
Yeah.
She was annoying people. But I was what is she bringing? She's done.
Perhaps there could have been a path for Jessica had then she not targeted Eden.
Is there a path though?
I think that maybe if she would have been really leading the charge, hey, Nathan needs to go out next. I think that there could have been a scenario where maybe they end up following up Frankie with her right-hand person in Nathan. Maybe they want to keep the tribe strong and they don't necessarily want to get rid of him, but it ultimately, I think, would have gone better for her than to go after Eden, who was an integral part of getting this group together that ultimately turned things around to get out Frankie. And I feel like that we have barely spoken about Eden yet, and he was such a big part of the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, we'll definitely discuss Eden, but from a Jess perspective, yeah, it couldn't have gone much worse than throwing out Eden. So it definitely, I think it could have gone better, but I don't know that better includes her staying.
I think when like any of the people that were with Frankie on that first vote, I think that if she threw out their name, I think that she maybe has a chance to stay. But when she's like actively campaigning against one of the people that saved her, then it really ends up being very bad for her. And I thought it was super interesting, as you know, you said both these tribes, this is like the Spider-Man meme of that they point to each other.
Oh, that would have been a great tweet.
Yes,
you should tweet it. Yeah.
Okay.
I did this is the same picture.
You have the audience for
well, whatever, it's done.
Okay. But that in both tribes that we had this scenario where okay, the votes are there to save the person, and then okay, oops, the person who is going to be the decoy vote and or the person that the minority is targeting, they find out about it, and then we get to watch both Eden and Kelly have to deal with that. Am I crazy to say that I thought that Kelly might have done a little bit of a better job?
I think that the Kelly Eden situation is actually quite different because Kelly knew, like Kelly was playing it up, and Eden was like actually worried. Like she was trying to act, but she was acting badly to the point where it was now becoming like a detriment.
But she kind of kept her cool, and I was really worried.
That's true. She actively kept her cool compared to Eden.
But she was acting, and as many of Eden's favorite actors might, a method actor, a real Daniel Day-Lewis. And so
like a Jeremy Strong. That's my method.
Jeremy Strong. But Eden, like you could see that he really shifted, and he talked about that. He was like talking about how the paranoia was creeping up, and I was very worried that he might do something that was going to end up playing himself out of the game.
Okay, well, I want to talk about Eden, but I want to talk about Jess. Who should I talk about first?
I'll go back to I'd say talk about Eden first, because that ultimately the Eden stuff is going to lead to Jess being voted out. So
Eden spiraled.
Yes.
You can blame the poor man. He just loves the show so much. It's rare to get that on Australian Survivor. It's a rite of passage. He loves to quote. He loves to do a bit. He was doing a take on our very good friend Nick Iadanza. I thought he did it well. I thought it was one of his best impressions.
Yes, he did an impression of Nick Iadanza?
No, I'm just the spiraling reminded me of.
Oh, okay. Well, he had a number of quotes across these 3 episodes, which I greatly enjoyed. I thought he had a killer voting confessional, no pun intended, about how calling Frankie was the Terminator, and tonight, hasta la vista, baby. I kind of wish that he had kept the movie quotes going throughout I did not, unless I missed it. His vote on the
I don't think we saw his vote. I'm sure we did.
We saw the vote, or he said, "I'm doing this tonight to save my bacon," which I don't think.
Oh, he did say that.
Yes. But after they won the tug of war challenge, he said, like, "Are you entertained?"
Yeah.
He did the Godfather.
Yeah. I was going to tally the quotes, but I kind of feel like it might become too much.
Yeah. No, tally the quotes.
Well, so it's 3 quotes.
We have at least 3, and maybe there might be a couple others that we missed.
If I keep counting, I'm going to have to start getting to better counting than the cool kids on either tribe could do, because we're at 3. I don't know that I can go much more. Alex is a math teacher as well, so you think that he would know that 4 is not a majority of 12. But from an Eden perspective, firstly, I might start tallying the non-quotes. I feel like at a point maybe that will be an easier tally. I love it though as a quote machine myself. So he did spiral. I honestly think it's fine. Like I'm like not so like it wasn't good, but I'm like.
I think the episode presented it as more of an issue.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I felt like you know, having watched the episode so many times, I just feel like it's overplayed in what was like a unanimous vote. He is worrying and like, but like we come back, we make the middle-aged mafia, we send me into an existential crisis. He's got his allies, he's okay.
Yeah.
Like I was okay.
I think it was kind of going to be a boring vote, and I think they had to sort of like,
and
gin up the works a little bit to try to give us something.
100%. But then he gets to the split vote, because this has been like really debated, the split vote. That he is going to split 3 votes on Nathan. Did you like this?
It didn't bother me so much. I mean, although I do feel like that if I put myself in that situation of like, and I think I've gone back and forth with Steven about this many times over the years, where Steven has almost always maintained, you gotta split the votes. Always be splitting. And I think I probably, and maybe like as the number of idols in circulation has only gone up, maybe I should revisit this, but I almost feel like that there are more things that can go wrong with the split vote than the fact that, first off, the person who you're going for has to have an idol, also has to play it correctly at that tribal council. So yes, there's a risk, but I think that often the splitting the votes ends up getting more screwed up, where now maybe 1 or 2 people could flip and change the whole thing based off of the fact that you split the votes.
Well, I don't think that there should be like a blanket thing to do with splitting the votes. Like we've seen people get screwed either way. Like idols can be legitimate fears. Splitting the votes can have legitimate issues. We've seen people go home for both. Like that's why splitting the votes is such an interesting conundrum. Like it's not been solved. I don't think that there is like a solution to should you be splitting. So it's situational. In this situation, like I get the fear that like she has an idol. I think the worst thing Eden did in all of this was being so transparent at that incredibly entertaining, heated tribal council where he actively says that she's thrown out his name. And I was like, well, now if she has an idol, she probably will play it. Like at that point, he's splitting. But I felt like that was unnecessary. Like maybe you don't need to split as much if you're going to be less clear about this. So and obviously the order of that is reversed. He splits and then he's clear. But I thought that was too transparent. And a lot of people this week were too transparent at tribal, which we can talk about. But it did lead to 3, I thought, very entertaining tribal councils. But I felt like from a split perspective, so people were concerned about a couple of things, which we can talk through. Firstly, 3 votes on Nathan.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and he's pissed off. This is a very small loss for me. Like, I feel like Nathan should already be pretty pissed off that you voted out Frankie. And if he isn't, then who knows if this will even turn him. Like, that man doesn't know what the frick is going on. So I think that's a very minimal loss for me. It's like, yeah, if he gets to a swap, like, he's not in a great spot. If he gets to a swap, he'll be pissed off. Like, I don't feel like this makes it so much worse than already blindsiding him at the first tribal council. But I guess at best, you don't really want to, piss him off. What I would have done, because what the split isn't against the 3 guys and Jess, right? That's 7-4. That's not a split. And I think this confused people in the episode because it felt like it was going to be the guys and Jess against Eden. And so they couldn't split. But really, it was a 10-on-1 where the guys, I think, were always with Eden, always voting Jess. I don't think Eden's name was ever.
Get payback.
They had to get payback.
Credit for Frankie.
We see them talking to Eden. We see Nathan talking to Eden. Winner even is on the Nathan side of the split, which we'll talk about. We only ever see Eden's name come up when talking to Jess because she's the boot. Like, I don't think Eden's ever in trouble. And I want to give that credit there. Like, it's not like, oh, were you already... It's not like they worked out that he was the mastermind. Like, there's nothing going on here that's super concerning. So in splitting against just Jess's idol, he can just throw 1 vote. Like, he doesn't need to do 3 votes. We kind of talked about this with Jerry last year. It piles on in a way that seems like this is a plan where we're splitting on you versus like just throwing 1 vote. Eden can take that on. He can upset his allies less. It's one conversation with Mark of like, I'm a little worried. I'm throwing 1 vote on Nathan. He can wear that in a way that's just puts less on his allies. And it's as effective of a split against what they're doing, which is just against Jess's idol. So optimally, I do that. I still think the split is fine. Like, to do that against an idol, I would just do it myself. And then it's like Nathan can come back and be pissed off maybe at you, or it looks like less of a plan. Maybe it looks like you went rogue out of fear. I just think that's better. The only reason to do 3 is if winner is truly with that 7. because he does vote on the Nathan side of the split. And I don't know that like I believe that to be true or that I would trust Winner in that. So I really think like the 1 vote split, my brother was very strong on this, that's what he should have done. But like, I'm not super anti like pissing off Nathan. Like, who cares? Maybe famous last words, but like he should be mad regardless.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're sort of like laying some track of that Nathan is going to flip at a tribe swap.
Yeah. Well, this is another thing. Is like, will he get to a tribe swap? So another conversation that I was having on Twitter was, should they even have Nathan as a backup? Because if she plays the idol and Nathan goes, they may not win one more challenge. Like, they're already in a bad space. This is tribal council number 2. Like, how do you feel about Nathan as the target for the backup?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, these challenges have been like pretty close. I feel like that maybe in the reward challenges, he's more valuable than in some of these like team challenges. So
yeah, it's been pretty helpful. He throws well. He's strong.
Yeah, but
they need him.
Yeah, I guess they need him. But where else would you put it? On
I
Winner?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I would vote for Nathan because Winner, like, at least I don't know where Winner sits, but it's above Nathan. Nathan already should be more pissed off that like not only was he blindsided like Winner and Jaden were, but like that was like a shot against Nathan, which is what made it funny. I would do Nathan because I would not vote Nathan out now over Jess. Even if Jess was less chaotic than she is, I still think she's a better shot than Nathan from a physical standpoint because it's episode 2. I would target Nathan in the future, like now that they're getting to like an episode 4, or if they can win a couple of challenges, like definitely I would target Nathan, getting closer to a swap where you can afford to lose some immunity challenges and still have that fodder of like a Jaden and a Winner. But so I wouldn't target him in episode 2 from a physical standpoint, but to have him as a backup, which she has to have and play an idol, and then at least it saves Eden. And then at that point, physically, yes, you're under the pump, but you might get lucky. There might be twists. You could win whatever challenges, possibly out of, as we're saying, like circumstance and some degree of luck, and the challenges being hopefully a bit varied. So I still think they have outs. Like for me, it was fine as a backup option in a very unlikely scenario that he goes, but I wouldn't have ever made him the primary, which they didn't. So I thought this was actually mostly fine. Like my only note is that I would just have done just his own vote on Nathan rather than.
I was just worried that Eden was going to play himself out of the alliance.
Well, he didn't.
I was really worried about that because, Eden is working with, that we get to see, a lot of Mark, a little bit of Charles. Those guys seem just like they're so calm and so measured. And then Eden
Mark has literally like gotten people out of prison. Like he's like chill, like
right.
This is nothing.
That is both. I feel like both these guys seem like that they're kind of like ice water in their veins type guys. And then Eden is like so frenetic. And I was just worried that because I really like this alliance, I was worried that he was going to screw things up. Luckily, he came away unscathed.
Yeah, because he and Mark work really well together in that first episode where we kind of see Eden put out this kind of broad idea, which like someone like Jess will claim, but I really felt in both the Peter and the Frankie votes, like it's kind of obvious. Anyway, like I don't know that anyone can claim like a clearly good idea for everyone. Like that to me just feels like someone needs to say it, but it's so apparent that I can't give it that much credit. It's not like a oh my God, who would have thought of that idea? It's so obvious. And then we see like Mark give the name. So they work really well together. I think the connection that might have helped Eden in this freak out, and clearly he's fine, is that Mark and like a Caroline are super fans. So like, I think they might get like, okay, you just love this game so much. Like you're just so excited to be here. And it's like, was scary in this episode 2. Like, don't do that again. But now you've got it out of your system. Like my brother was saying, he's like, Eden will be better for this. He's had it. He's got through it. He wasn't in actual danger. We got through it in a pretty safe environment, like getting it out. And now hopefully he's like, hopefully that's not him every time. But I think that having had the experience maybe just like fortifies him for the future. Hopefully.
We can help.
Yeah. So that's Eden. I thought, he was great, especially with what we see in the first episode with where he and Mark are positioned in the 7. So I did want to talk about Jess.
Yeah.
Because I thought Jess was competing with Nathan and then later the Rebels, Peter, for like just trying to be just so bad at Survivor. I thought Jess was like so bad. There was one part where like she's going home. Now she doesn't know this, but like she's the other name, her and Frankie. And then like she comes up to Mark and Eden, and they're like, yeah, no, we're open. And she's like, well, that doesn't sell me. I'm like, sell you.
Yeah.
You're going home.
She's running the tribe.
It was so delusional. And she, in her ex interview, I thought that she did talk about the issues, which were the earlier issues that she said that she wasn't connecting with people, those social issues. Like, if that's true, then how do you think you're now running the tribe? Like, you've vocalized to us, verbalized the fact that you're not connecting with people. How do you think the next day you're controlling the vote? Like, you
Frankie went home, Shannon. She's like, hey, I just say a name. It's as easy as that.
Name everyone wants. Yeah, how could you possibly think that you're in a position to lecture the tribe? Yeah. I know she's a lecturer, I get it. But like, how can you possibly think that you have no connections and you're running the game? Like, anyway, it just is so.
I think that really jammed the censors when she ends up getting Frankie out, based off of like her just like sheer will in her mind. And so I think that really threw off like she's like, wow, I've got lightning shooting out of my fingers. I'm running this game. And then I think maybe got a little overconfident by vote number 2.
Yeah, like I do think, okay, like if she's going to suggest any name in vote number 2, I think maybe Winner, who's the least strong of those 3 guys, and you pitch it like, I will be so loyal to you. Like, I'm here with you forever. We don't know where Winner sits. He was with them. He's close to Jada. Like, I'm not a threat to you. We'll have Jada and Nathan. We'll have that strength. We don't need Winner. That's the name I'd be pitching, and I don't know that it would have saved her. But like, yeah, what she does is like she actively votes herself out when a couple of things she did. So we actually see Nathan give Eden first. Not sure if that is, we could have cut out part of the conversation, and I try to be really like obviously wary of like the editing. But that's what we see. She could have done it, whatever. She goes to the well and she's like, the name I floated is Eden. Why? Like whether you did or not, it's so easy to be like, Nathan's thinking Eden, and just see how they feel without incriminating like yourself. She was so desperate for credit. I'm like, you don't get more money based on if you can claim the moves more. Like, I don't understand that. A couple of the things that I mentioned on Talking Tribal, to go to like Mark with Eden, I was like, wow, Mark and Eden must be really hidden. But then from what we understand, the day before she'd gone to, or a couple of days before, she'd gone to Nathan with Frankie. So I was like, maybe that's a very low bar. She doesn't seem to know where people, like she says to Caroline and Kitty, I know you really like Eden. I'm like, well, then why are you throwing his name out? Like you're just listen to yourself. And then says to someone like Charles, he's such a fan, so he's a threat. Charles is a fan. Listen to yourself. I can't with these people. Anyway, I just felt like there was so much going on that was so bad. And it was, oh my God. But anyway, that's what I said on Talking Tribal. Earned losses across the board. Like they all, like none of that was bad luck. Like all of them have things they have to wear, truly.
Okay. Oh, I had her getting a lot of Chizy points. I'm gonna have to update my
discount for lectures. No. Is that what you want?
Yes. Yeah. What is Jessica's? I know she is a university lecturer. What is she a titan of?
That
titan of university lecturing.
Yeah, she's a woman in STEM.
Yes,
which I love. I wanted to love it. I wanted her to be like my Haley pick. But then I read her bio, Rob, and in her bio, she's like, I don't feel empathy for other people. And Mike and I were like,
that's not good.
Yeah, we were concerned. And those concerns, I think, played out almost worse than expected. Like, I truly don't see how it could have gone that much worse. So that was Jess. Who else we've got Eden. Who else? What about the rest of the 7? I mean, how do you see the makeup of the 7? We've got the middle-aged
mafia. Yeah, I come back to the duo and what I'm trying to remember. How did they describe herself? That they were they soulmates? Valeria and Viola. Yeah. I think that they're so fun. Like Valeria, I think has been much different than I expected when she came out and is like, yeah, I'm a titan of like a Russian model. But then she seems like kind of down to earth. She doesn't seem like stuck up or anything like that. Maybe I stereotype what like models are gonna be like. Maybe that comes from my own lived experience in Survivor and being going through this. But Viola also is
who's I'm gonna pick.
Yeah, she's really good too. But I just feel like that duo, I just still feel like that they have so many options.
I feel like I see Mark and Eden in the center. I feel like they're the middle-aged mafia. I feel like they seem to have the V's.
Yes.
And I kind of even see them as like a 3 with Charles. Like I see them as like I see everyone else like kind of, made around them. But I still think it's great. Like I think this whole 7, like I truly just hope that they like take it to the end. Like I like the 7 a lot. Like let's have a begonging. Let's
Kitty and Caroline need an alliance name.
The K's.
The what?
The V's and the K's. Kitty and Caroline. It's not the K's because it's a K and a C. It's not the
K
C's.
sound?
The K sounds. Better than the middle-aged mafia.
Yeah.
K sounds isn't making me want to cry. Which is now my barometer of how much I like alliance names.
Okay.
It's not good. Do better.
Yeah.
Kiddaline?
Come up with an alliance name.
Yeah, they probably have one. I don't think we hear enough from them to know it. There's a whole cutting room floor thing about their alliance name, and we're just never going to get it, unfortunately. But, okay, so that's that.
Middle-aged mafia is pretty good.
It's good. It's sad. It's funny. But it's just, I just can't deal with it right now. Not in February. Not my birthday month.
Okay.
It's February for me, not for you. Yeah. But as of today. No, I thought it was, I love this whole, loving the dynamic of this tribe. I truly felt like with Nathan, firstly, the fact that it started so early, it's like he got fire. I'm like, oh, he's really going to be the golden boy. Because that's how I saw him preseason. I thought he was going to be like a really, like Mike thought he was going to be like a villain. And I was like, I don't see that. I feel like he's going to be like a Sean Hampson type, like leader, just like perfect kind of guy. And then he got the fire and I was like, this is it, golden boy. And
golden
then
boy.
Yeah, that's how I saw it. And then he like immediately he gave them the fire and they're like, we're not ready for the fire. And then that's like why they lost the challenge. And then it like played out in the episode where I'm like, oh, he's going to have power. And then it devolved so quickly that I was like, that was a really good analogy for how this whole thing went for him, which I loved.
Yeah, he's been a very fun character to have on this tribe.
And you know what I really loved? You know what made me laugh?
What?
Was when he voted for Jess and he's like, this is revenge for Frankie. I'm like, firstly, Jess didn't do that.
Yes.
Secondly, you aren't doing this. Like, you are in a unanimous vote where you're the other side of the split. This isn't revenge. You're not doing anything. You're not helping. Like, the best case scenario would have been to work with Jess. Like, it wouldn't have been possible, but like...
Let him have his fun. Come on.
No, it's funny. It's so funny because it's like, he's still there, but he actually lost both votes. Like, does he even know how badly this went?
I don't think so.
He lost the Jess vote technically, like, in so many ways. He lost he was a split. He doesn't know where he's at. Lost the Frankie vote. Like, I hope that he never goes and that people just keep getting blindsided around him. And I want to see that face every tribal council. Like I love it. Australian Drew Christie. This is our time. This is our, so that's Nathan. Should we talk a little bit more about the rebels?
Rebels. My
Your
people.
Tribe.
Yes.
Tribe. We didn't talk about Charles and Winner, actually. Those are the two. Maybe we should actually.
Yeah,
because people were confused.
I don't know how much there is to talk about. He was very quiet in these episodes. I feel like that he seems like a super sharp guy. Maybe there's like seems like kind of just like a solid ally for Mark, but we didn't really get too much of his feelings on the game.
We didn't. We do see that he is included by Nathan in this alliance of the hierarchy. And so is Eden. So I feel like they made like quite an active choice in a way that Mark was like definitely on the bottom with Frankie and Nathan. And I know that Frankie and Nathan had different priorities, but like for Mark, like obviously you flip it. But for them, if they're being included by Nathan and like the V's kind of being included by Frankie from what I hear in the exits, they're making more of that decision. And I think it was, again, like a really good decision for all of them to like create that culture. So I think they're making like kind of more of a very active choice there, which I thought was good. I also thought at first they're like, what about Jess? And he's like, yeah. And then they're like, do you think so? And then we see him in the next scene. He's like, those three. Like, I feel like he picked up on it pretty well. That was like the one thing we got. And then Winner, people had questions about like how he got on that side of the split. I don't know. I don't know how he voted for Nathan. I truly am confused. It speaks.
Who brought him in?
Like someone must have brought him in. So that's good. Like Jess thinks that he was helping her, and I don't think that's the vibe.
Well, the votes ended up being like the only vote for Eden ended up being Jessica's, right? So everybody ends up getting on board. So I don't know, maybe if it's like the V's end up bringing them in, like but like I think that maybe in the spirit of tribe harmony, like maybe somebody like a Mark is like telling everybody what's going on so nobody ends up feeling blindsided. So, I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, the issue with bringing in someone like Winner who's like aligned with a Nathan and a Jaden is now you're like, it ruins well, I mean, not necessarily, because I guess if Jess is playing the idol,
yeah,
she's
but
gonna play it regardless.
The idea is that like, can you believe what she did to Frankie? Like, I think that you could drive that wedge of like, come on, let's do this for Frankie.
Yeah.
Let's take out Jess. Like, we're not going with her stupid plan.
There was clearly no issue, like, in working with the guys. Like, they're very much on board. Like, Eden's never in trouble in that. But if you go to Winner and upset him in being like, you're on the we're splitting on Nathan and made you want to be on the Nathan side of the split, like you might be bringing him in, but you might also lead him, which I don't think Winner's that type of player, and maybe they're clearly reading that correctly. But like, what if you go to him and you're like, we're splitting on Nathan, and that drives him to be like, we're very much at the bottom. Maybe we work with Jess, and if one of them has an idol, now you're not splitting because it's 7-4, and you do something. I mean, it feels like, I don't know. Eden was trying to be, I guess, risk averse, but like telling Winner feels like you don't need him on the split. There's no real reason to do it. But I guess it's a good thing that he was brought in on something. Like, Winner is so vague for someone who has an idol, who's not included in Nathan's original group of 6, but who clearly is close with Jaden and Nathan, and Frankie said as well. So I don't know, but I do know that he said that all he cares about is Jaden. And did you know that they knew each other pre-season?
No.
I found that in my pre-season stalking.
Mm-hmm.
They were in a TikTok together last May, and I was really happy about that tea and that investigative journalism. And then it immediately played out, Rob. This is why I do the work for you.
Yeah, you do great work. Winner and Jaden know each other.
They were in a TikTok together 3 months before.
What was the TikTok about?
It was a prank video.
A prank video. Oh boy.
Yeah, I think maybe I am middle-aged because those TikTok prank videos are not for me. But yeah, and it was like he was like getting up in Jaden's face, and then like Jaden pushed him. They're both TikTokers, so it's like a TikTok alliance. Maybe I am old. I would be in the middle-aged alliance because I'm not in the TikTok alliance.
TikTok alliance, no.
No, if those are the options, then I would have to, unfortunately, go to the middle-aged alliance.
One of us.
Dying soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it's impossible for us to know where Winner sits. Truly. I want to give you guys more. I don't have any insight on this.
Okay. He has an idol now.
He has an idol. What's he gonna do with it? I don't know. But yeah, just why would they include him on that split when they don't need to? How much did they trust him correctly to know that how did he find that out? Truly something I hope we get to at a point. Okay, so Rebels?
Yeah, let's talk about them.
All right. Well, let's talk about Peter.
Yeah.
Who in the same spot as Frankie, I think made similar mistakes of being in a minority with anti-shields.
Mm-hmm.
Because you asked, like, why would Kirby get rid of Peter, who seemed like her connection? So yeah. I feel like, well, they can't get rid of Alex and Tobias from a physical standpoint. Like, they can't. I mean, they could afford to more because they're a better tribe and they're a little way down the road.
Yeah.
But, like, is Peter Kirby's connection? Did you see their conversation? I felt like this was, again, such bad language, saying, come into the majority with us. I'm like, but it's not a majority without Kirby, actually. And with Kirby and Rihanna, even then, it's just a 6.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty entitled. And also making her feel super valued. Like, come into the majority. And then I think she also was like, I want to keep you. It's like, maybe we try. Let's work together.
She was sort of like, you see what we got going on up there, right? Yeah. You see this group? We want to bring you in.
Yeah.
You want to be? You want to come sit at our table?
The only thing she was missing was like, so it'll be like me, Alex, Tobias, Sarah, Rihanna, you.
Yeah.
You know, down here.
Like you need somebody to cuddle with. This is the cuddle group.
She didn't have a cuddler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, has anyone ever pitched to anyone? Why is everyone so bad at this week? Like, I've never seen worse pitching in my lifetime.
I mean, they like hit it off in pairs.
Yeah, it was not good. I also felt with the cuddle crew. So they throw the challenge.
Yeah.
Did you like this?
So yeah, the issue was that they needed more room in the shelter. What do they need all that room for? And
Alex has a girlfriend.
Hey, this stuff happens, Shannon. What are you gonna?
I'm
What do you want?
middle-aged.
Yeah.
I'm not with what the kids are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like with the cuddler group, like when Ferris is like talking about like what goes on and why he doesn't sleep because of the cuddlers, like it was giving a little bit of like Surrey Micronesia of like talking about like Ozzy and Amanda and James and Parvati and the Oslets.
Yeah, it was I mean, it's just like such basic mistakes. Someone like Peter who's a fan, like I know she's seen that season. I know she's seen multiple seasons. Like you have to wonder how they could do that. And then to throw the challenge, it was so arrogant. It was so like because they are clashing with Kelly and Raymond. So I guess they don't feel like that's like a long-term relationship they can have. But like the odds of you losing a challenge anyway are pretty high. Like you're not gonna win every challenge. And no one ever wins every challenge. You'll probably lose a couple. Even like you're the rebels. They're meant to be the Titans. Even like the Brawns lost. Even the champions. Actually, there've been a couple of champions tribes now that have not done super well. Even the hero who was so strong lost a couple of challenges. You never know if it's going to be like a twist. And you don't have a majority. How could you? And you did it so obviously.
Yeah.
In what universe would anyone think that this was a good idea? It was some of the worst gameplay I think I've ever seen.
Sometimes, Shannon, when you're in love, you don't make the best decisions.
Clearly. But Alex has a girlfriend. Okay, well, we can just move on from
You're
that.
so stuck on that, Shannon.
Yeah, I am actually, because I was confused about what was going on with that. I don't know.
They're maybe just like Barbie and Ken.
Yeah. You know when this was filmed?
Last year?
Yeah, like in the middle of last year, like right during that era.
Yeah.
Then I was gonna I'm like, if they're the Barbie alliance, then the Underdog should be the Oppenheimer alliance because they just blew things up. And then I thought that was insensitive.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that this is Titans versus Rebels is a little bit giving Oppenheimer. I mean, I feel like that the Titans tribe, that's kind of like the Oppenheimer. And then the Rebels, they really do have like the pink Barbie color buff down.
Can you imagine if they announced it was like Australian Survivor Oppenheimer versus Barbie? And
yeah,
but that was like months after the whole, phenomenon. So people would be like, we're kind of done, I think. I mean, and then especially given all the Barbie stuff that happened in the last week, I feel like that would have aged really terribly, because Hillary Clinton ruined Barbie. I don't know if you saw this. It's my favorite tweet of all time.
She ruined Barbie.
She did. She literally did. Her tweet about Barbie was so bad that I saw people say they now hate Barbie and love Trump. Crazy how far that went.
Yeah. I feel like Sarah could be firefighter Barbie.
Yeah, no, she could. And Peter's tattoo Barbie, Commander Barbie, she said.
Yeah,
that's probably the only two
Kelly.
Kelly? She's the Kate McKinnon one.
Yeah, I didn't want to say
Weird Barbie.
Yeah.
Is that she literally is though. I would love to see Kate McKinnon's take on Kelly. We probably will never get that unless the season does very well. But okay. And then what do we have? Eileen's like nerdy Barbie. Is there a nerdy Barbie? Where's the representation?
I don't think they marketed nerdy Barbie.
Smart Barbie?
Yeah.
Who else? Kirby, Sporty Barbie. These are just Spice Girls at a point.
Is giving the what the Mojo Dojo Casa House look.
Yeah. There's a lot of Mojo Dojo Casa House happening at the moment across the tribes, I think. So yeah. But I feel like Barbie's done. Like enough.
Okay.
But I hope we do get an Oppenheimer alliance. Eden, where are you? Like, what is your job? All of your alliances should be named on movies. They should have been the Oppenheimer alliance. And then imagine if we had that. That would have been crazy.
Yeah, it'd be huge.
The synergy. So yeah. Well, what we talking? Okay, so we're talking about them, and then they have a girlfriend, and then the Rebels.
The cuddlers, yeah.
And then one thing that I love that they did, not loved like loved ironically, like I'm laughing at you, was so they split the vote. Now they have the idol, and Peter's the one who suggests this. Now there could be two idols. I guess.
Maybe.
We've seen this before. Yeah, we've seen this, so they could be.
It's only third tribal council.
It's unlikely. But anyway, you want to not make it seem like you have an idol. We're going to split the vote. Even if you needed to split the vote, like 1 vote again, maybe 2 votes on Raymond and Kelly. Why did they split their 6? They split, like, you put maybe 2 votes, like, oh, Eileen and Scott, you're the purple people, you're the splitters. You put 2 votes. You put 2 votes on Raymond. Instead, they split their 6. Even if they think they have a 6, which they don't, wouldn't they think the other 6 might take that as an opportunity to come over the top, which is what they now think happened? Questions about
that. But I just don't think they're thinking like that. I think that they feel
you don't have to say like that. I just don't think they're thinking.
I think that they are under the impression, and again, this is what happens, that they sort of like have their own little group and they are only just talking to each other. And it's like, oh, everybody hates Kelly, right? Yeah. Oh my God. Everybody hates Kelly. Everybody hates Raymond. All right. Back to the cuddle pile.
That's actually not that show.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves Raymond.
They got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so they think that everyone just hates him so much that everyone.
I think they think everybody hates Kelly more.
They think that they have a 6. And they want to vote out Kelly. And they have other really intelligent middle people who, again, let's think about it, are playing their own game. Now, they're not side characters in your journey. I think that's what it's important. They are people with their own minds and agency. I think once we start realizing that, maybe we start considering that wouldn't Eileen, a Scott, a Ferris, a Garrick, all smart people, be like, oh my God, I can't stand Kelly so much that I'm willing to put myself at the bottom of this like very transparent crew. Like they think they have a 6. And it's even like more obvious than that other 6 would do that. Without even like, because then that would be their numbers to do it. That would be like the prime opportunity to like take advantage of a situation. So even in thinking they have a 6 and they don't have it, even on that split, they really put themselves in some danger while having the idol when Peter suggested it. I just don't know, Rob. I just don't know. I just like, there was a lot of good gameplay this week and there was a lot of really, 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 really bad.
I mean, I just think that what happens is that, probably like day 1, day 2, there's a consensus. All right, if we go to tribal, Kelly's the first one to go. Right. Yeah. Okay, great. That's the plan. And then they end up like falling in love and they're sort of like in like schmoopy territory. You're schmoopy. You're schmoopy.
Yeah. Shannon. You're Ken. I'm Barbie.
Yeah, you're Ken. I'm Barbie. And they're just like, spending all their time with each other in the cuddle pile and on this double date. And they're just like, everybody still hates Kelly, right? We're still at Kelly, Raymond. They're thumbs down, right. And I think they're just feeling like, okay, the whole tribe is going with that.
It's funny that I'm like, Barbie's kind of done, but then this entire podcast is me being like, do you guys ever think about dying? That famous line from Barbie.
Yes.
So
yes.
You saw Barbie.
Multiple times.
That wasn't that long ago. You saw multiple times.
Yes.
So why?
I watched it I went to the movie and then I went to, then my wife hadn't seen it. And so I thought,
why didn't she see it with you originally?
Because I went for Rob and Akiva Need a podcast and she protests anything having to do with that.
Oh, so you saw it twice?
Yes.
That's wild. How many times did you see Oppenheimer?
0.
You didn't do the double? You did double Barbie, but you didn't do Oppenheimer?
Akiva went to go see Oppenheimer.
I know, I understand the premise. I just, you know how I watched Oppenheimer?
How?
With a bunch of pink balloons, clearly that had, wafted over from another theater, bobbing. And I was like, this is so specific to this month.
Yeah.
Like, no one would ever understand this ever again. So... Yeah, you're right. They just think like, okay, we're going to get rid of Kelly, we're going to get rid of Raymond. And then at that point, we almost do have a majority, math-wise, Alex. So then at that point, our 4.
And the other people who aren't in love, I mean, you see this in Big Brother probably more than on Survivor, where it's like, okay, we're in a showman. It's like, let's just hang out. Like we're just going to like, talk to the other showmans. And then the other people in the house end up like figuring it out and like flipping the whole thing on the popular people. So to have it happen here, like, I mean, that's where it comes from.
I imagine them just like looking lovingly into each other's eyes, and then it like pans out, and the rest of the tribe are just like looking at like, I don't like this. I also am playing. Like, I just don't think that anyone considered the wants and needs of anyone. Like, you would surely think that if you have a 6 and you're splitting that, and they can see that, you don't know that you've been that transparent. I guess that must be it. But then the other 6 would be like, this is a perfect opportunity. We'll use Kelly. How often do people use someone like Kelly? That happens all the time. So it was just so many questions. So you want to talk about Kirby like an hour ago, and I have it in my notes. We have to get back to Kirby. Her move, her decoy votes.
But I think the thing is that where I feel like it could be an overplay in that, does she even need to do this?
No, I hated it, Rob.
Like
I hated it so
that
much.
these people are so snowed. I mean, that she does not need to maintain like deep undercover to continue to dupe Alex, Tobias, and Sarah.
Yeah, I feel like she'll come back and be like, Tobias, I was with you. It was a split, and then we didn't. He'd be like, what? Like, Tobias would be like, what was it? Like, you voted with us? I wasn't. Where's Sarah? So yeah, I don't know. Well, there's a few things. I really wanted to like it because I like Kirby a lot. And Kirby, I feel like Kirby is like the Eden in this tribe. Like, she was between groups. And then Mark is like the Ferris. Like, he's kind of leading, leading this kind of underdog gang. And they're working together. So, and like, I feel like her positioning is so great. And I feel like she seems to have an aptitude for the game, although I am about to disagree with like her first move so heavily. Like, I wanted to like it and I kept trying to give it grace, and I just hate it so much. Like, you have an 8-3 majority on Alex, Tobias, and Sarah. I have faith you can get it done. I don't know that you need to be moles in that configuration. You can split the vote. You're okay. And like, so she does these decoy votes. We don't know, did she tell her alliance? Now, in Talking Tribal, there was a preview after we discussed whether she had that showed Garrick being like, I smell a rat. And then like kind of being like, Kirby, we need to talk. So that doesn't look good. I also love that Garrick is the kind of player who would be like, I smell a rat, which is like, doesn't sound like something a human would say. And then he literally
probably
like,
says that every day.
Yeah, I smell a rat. Like, do you have a rat problem? Like, anyway. But then he does sniff out some stuff, which I like. Yeah. But for Kirby,
I like Garrick too.
I thought Garrick was great. Like, I thought I know it might have been obvious that they were throwing the challenge. They weren't exactly subtle, but I still thought it was a cool moment that he like sniffed it out. I feel like he's in a great spot, like Kirby, Garrick, and Ferris, but not making some of the mistakes that we can talk about for like Kirby and Ferris. I love what Garrick says.
Yeah.
Actually.
So my fan fiction for the season is that somebody like goes and finds an idol, and Garrick is like watching his behavior or her behavior, and like something's off. I smell a rat. Yeah.
We're doing an Eden quote count. I want a rat count on. And I'm sure there was a lot, but yeah, I mean, for Kirby, this is the first tribal council, Rob. This is the time where you make people real. I'm a reliable, workable alliance mate, and instead she's like an erratic, self-interested individual, big game player. She's like, I'm gonna lie about like my professional sports career. I'm like, why? Like, I worry that Kirby might have like a bit much of a big move mentality that she doesn't need because she's got all the skills for the game. Like, just be good. Like, just be regular. So to do this, if she didn't tell them, I think it's like atrocious. If she did tell them, I know people have been like, that'll be good. That's communal. I still don't like it because I feel like they might be like, yeah, sure. And then go to each other, like a Ferris and a Garrick, and be like, what is she doing? Like, why just vote with us? Like, we don't, what are you being like? Though now you're doing your own thing.
I didn't mind it as much as you did. It didn't bother me. I liked where she was going with it. You know, you have to remember, like, especially it's day 7, and you saw this tribe like overall like getting kind of antsy. They haven't been to tribal council yet. And so they were itching to go to tribal council. Like, Kirby,
there are 40 days left.
I know.
There are 40
she wants to do
days.
a big move. She wants to get something going.
I hate it. You know, that's not a reason to do a move.
You know, I think that maybe she might also be concerned that like these big personalities like Tobias and Alex are gonna like come back and then also go off on like they need somebody to blame, and it's like, Kirby, you flipped, like, how could you? Maybe they don't want to be like the next targets that the guys in the group are gonna be like going after.
I think that this is worse because it's like if they don't want to be the targets. Firstly, 6 people know that you've done this decoy vote. So it's not exactly under the radar. Like, if you've pissed off like a Garrick or anyone, they could go to Tobias, Alex, and Sarah and be like, yeah, you think that they voted with you, but they knew the whole plan. They're just trying to make you think that. Like Aubrey once said, the people in the middle get run over. Like, I feel like you run the risk, and I think that the cuddlers are enough of a threat that this won't happen, but like, you run the risk of everyone coming together and be like, No, like you're not with either of us. Like now you're out. Like and for no real gain. So it's not exactly like a good secret plan. It's not necessary. Yeah. I mean, if she didn't tell them, I think it's particularly bad. And it seems that
Yeah.
like Ferris says, like,
he's gonna be fine.
it's gonna be
Ferris has
finery.
her back.
I think Ferris will be mad. Like, I think they're not gonna like this. I think that people like when you vote with them, when you say you're gonna vote with them in the first tribal council. Like, I know that I'm old fashioned, but I like when people just vote with me when they do what they say they're gonna do. So, I mean, I think like her relationship with Rihanna is good. The fact that she didn't do it herself and has at least Rihanna is fine, is better for me. But I'm really reaching to find something because I didn't love it. And people apparently liked it, and I just don't know. I don't see how you can actively like it.
Yeah.
I
like that. I mean, it's hard because I thought it was presented as like a good move. It wasn't presented like she was doing something dumb.
Because it was entertaining.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, but that's the edit, Rob. That's not.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
He has plot armor.
Maybe that influences my Chizy point sometimes also.
Well, I'm actually glad if it does because I'm influenced in my Chizy points by hating this move, but I kind of feel like Kirby should get Chizy points for being like so socially central and making a good move here, like making an active choice to go against the cuddlers who are not including her near enough, and like instigating a lot of it. Saying the name first, where I feel like Garrick and Ferris kind of push this idea. Everyone gets on the same page of something really obvious. She gives a name. Like, all of that's good. She pulled it off. But I just disagree with this so much. So I'm glad that you're going to give us some credit on that. Because
how about Raymond? I feel like that we're in disagreement on Raymond also.
In what way?
Like, I feel like that he's not long for the game.
I mean, I think, like, if you think Kelly's long for the game, like, surely Raymond is, because he's, like, behind her. Now he's on a better path.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like that people are, like, giving him the side eye a lot.
Yeah, but there's people with Peter, and she's gone.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, like, he reminds me of, like, a young Johnny Fairplay.
Okay.
But I don't know if he necessarily, like, has, like, a big game.
Well, I don't think he's not pissing off the people that matter. Like, Kelly is annoying her own allies. That's my concern. Whereas Raymond, like, the cuddlers hated him, but, like, the cuddlers have nothing. So I'm not, like, super concerned about him. Like, I feel like there's a lot more.
The fact that they were just showing him, like, that people were mad at him, that he was looking for an idol, and not even, like, that we, like, got to see him go look for an idol. Like, I feel like they were just getting, like, a lot of clues of, like, people are annoyed with him. He was bad in, like, the tug of war, the kind of just, like, gave up. I just felt like that as far as, like, just edit wise, like, I felt like that things are trending. Like, he had a couple of, like, funny moments at tribal council, but I feel like that all the camp life stuff was not necessarily, we were being shown that people are enjoying his company.
But I just feel like that was the cuddlers. Like, the edit we got was that, like, they were against him and then they lost. Like, I didn't see one non-cuddler say something negative about him, I don't think.
Yeah.
And the cuddlers at this point are irrelevant to what's going to happen in this game, hopefully. So
Alex got a lot of confessionals.
Yeah. Alex might be Alex and Peter were, I think, like, the personality of that group.
Yeah, so I feel like that Alex then he really ended up having, like, a villain turn by the third episode.
I really felt that as well. I, like, was so waiting for the downfall. Even though they were being so mean about Kelly, but I didn't disagree with a lot of the Kelly stuff. But I also felt like that I was like the fact that she calls them the funky bunch. I was like, I can't believe both of these tribes were high school. Like, I'm middle aged and everything will always be high school apparently. And yeah, but I did think with Kelly, one of the worst sins was, like, so she was, like, throwing in the challenge, and they're like, no, she's not getting any. She's not close. And they're calling her back and she's, like, complaining. I'm like, oh my God, get to that. Like,
but she had the emergent gameplay strategy, right? Of, like, was it Kelly? No, who said to move the net?
That was Kitty.
Kitty.
So we got that from Kitty.
Sorry, Kitty, Kelly, Kitty.
Caroline. Yeah. It's hard. Are you Frankie?
But to start to sway the net, we've never seen that before, right?
That was smart. And it didn't make them win, but it was fun.
Didn't make them win. I thought they had it.
I feel like was Kelly throwing the challenges? Like, was she?
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm joking. That's just Kelly. Someone we have not spoken about, and that's crazy. Really, it's Ferris.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Ferris?
Yeah, Ferris is very good. Like his energy. He's very excited that he loved George.
Yeah, he's from Bankstown as well, I think, or around Bankstown. I think Ferris is super funny. Like, I think he's like a real star of the screen. I thought I put this on Twitter, but the moment where like Kelly hugs him and he's like eating over her. Did you see that one? I'll get a screenshot. I have it on Twitter. But yeah, but then he was crazy at tribal council. Like, how did you feel?
He loved it. He was so entertained.
Yeah, but like you're in it. Like, you're not a viewer. This is can you see?
Yeah, he says he thrives. Oh yeah, okay, there it is. He thrives in these environments. And he said that somebody needs to be made an example of at the in this tribal council. And yeah, the cuddlers were like, well, I don't like that he said that.
Yeah,
it's like that.
I try to like, when people have reactions at tribal council, I try to take that with a grain of salt because they can edit in any reaction. But no, like Alex and Sarah vocally are like, what? So that's not good.
And Alex said, if somebody has an idol, they should probably play it now.
So I'm trying to work this out. So Ferris says that. I feel like Ferris is just like, he's too charismatic for his own good. Like, he's got the cheeky kind of like grin, no poker face. He's too hyped up on the fact that they're about to do this blindside. And honestly, I don't blame him. If I was going to do that blindside, like, I'd probably be the same. But I do blame him because it's not good strategy. And then he's like being way too obvious. He calls out that someone needs to be made an example of. People will, be surprised, or it's clearly not about like the unanimous Kelly vote. And Alex and Sarah are confused. And then Alex says that. Do you think that Alex was trying to like warn Peter? Because if that's true, wouldn't he have he was sitting next to her? I feel like he could have just like wink, wink.
Yeah, could have just like kicked her. Like,
yeah. Why are you kicking me? Yeah. We're not playing footsie right now. Do you think he was doing that though?
I think that he was more just speaking in like generalities. I don't think that he actually thought that I think that maybe he's like that. Well, that was weird.
Yeah, because I feel like he would have, if he wasn't sitting next to her, I would think that he was trying to, but like the fact that he could have tapped her and maybe he did and we didn't see it, but I think it was generalities. But then Ferris is like, no, I think that you shouldn't play an idol. Like, if you're that worried now, like the game's not for you. And it was funny because I had this back and forth with our producer on Talking Tribal, who was like, he knows that Peter has an idol and he's telling her not to play the idol. And I was like, I don't think it's that specific, but I think like if you're going to be in the majority vote, like, best someone doesn't play the idol, like best your plans aren't upended. And then Ferris kind of tweeted that he was doing that he was kind of like making sure no one had an idol.
But then why say the first thing? Like, was he trying to get somebody to flush the idol? Did he think that maybe somebody had an idol?
But then he says no one should play it.
Yeah. So pick a lane.
Like he was trying to deal with his own issues. Okay, wait, Ferris Survivor. What's his at? Where is he? Where's Ferris?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh God. Okay. Well, you filibuster while I find what he tweeted because it's important. Because should he be doing this? Should we be tweeting out our thoughts about? Why isn't it coming up though?
Should the players be tweeting out their thoughts during the?
Yeah, but should you be telling me? I'm trying to work things out, Ferris. I'm trying to guess.
Shannon, if you think this is bad, have you heard about the traders?
No. What are they doing?
They just do whatever they want. They go on podcasts.
Well, those people are like big celebrities. Okay, here's Ferris. He said. No, he's okay. Wait, no, he said this. Okay, Peter needed to be reassured not to play an idol after Alex's subtle comment to play it. So it seems like maybe he was like, ooh, we're going to do a blindside. And then Alex was so obvious being like, maybe you should play an idol. That Ferris was like, oh no, wait, no blindside. Don't worry. Do you have an idol? Don't play that idol. And then, so maybe that is what happened.
Yeah.
Our producer on Talking Tribal was correct. And I'm going to send her that tweet. So I feel like he buried himself in a hole that he had to dig out of. So I didn't think that was good. But I do think he's in a good position. I like his relationship with Garrick and with Kirby, bringing Kirby in, getting the numbers, overthrowing the cool kids, as obviously I love. And that's, I think, all I have, Rob. I think that's all I have on the strategy of the episode.
Okay.
Do you want to do the Chizy?
Is it that time?
I think it is. Take it away, Jacob Sega Weinstein and MC Color.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. It's getting kind of chizzy. 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Yay. Chizy.
Mm-hmm.
Super excited. Okay, do you want to go first?
Okay. Remind me, we start with 3?
Yeah, well, you do you.
Okay. 3 for Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Mark it down. 3 points. Running this tribe, and also running this tribe in a way where he's building a consensus, that he's leading from the front, but nobody's like, oh, we got to get rid of him. He's just doing such a good job of like that. He's like in the middle of everything. Everybody loves him. He had that moment. I thought maybe it was too good in the one challenge that was like the steel cage match, where it was like, wow, Magic Mark, here he goes. And he just like shot out of there like a cannon. JLP like kind of blew up his spot a little bit.
Yeah, but it's not that bad because Mark's never going to be the challenge threat.
JLP called him the secret weapon.
Yeah, and he was like, not so secret.
Yeah.
But still, he's never going to go for being like a great swimmer. Like, he's never going to be a priority over others.
He's very aerodynamic.
He is. He did well with that. He really showed us, because in the preseason content, like, it showed him like really young, like a kid with like a bunch of like swimming medals. And we're like, well, you're a child there. Like, we don't know how that's going to play out in adulthood, in middle age. And it did. And we were wrong. I was wrong on Mark. I really was. And I'm happy to be. It's all good.
Okay.
Put it this way.
All right.
That's 3.
Do I keep going or you go? We go back.
No, you go.
Okay. I'm gonna give 2 to. I had 2 to Kirby. I didn't know that you were gonna come on here and poo-poo what she did so much, but I thought she had a really good episode. In that episode 3, she ends up like getting invited to be part of that alliance. She feels things out. It seems like she's got like a fun at least a 3-person thing with Ferris and Garrick, and just seems like that. I guess maybe I love the trend that's gone on these last couple of years about like purposefully like voting for a person that isn't going to go home, and I've seen that work so well for Jam Jam and for Carson. D did it in Survivor 45, also on the vote where Emily went home. So I think I've seen people have like really great success with this strategy, and so I saw it here.
George did it.
George has done it. So
George has done it a couple times.
It's been very effective for people. So
not at the first tribal council though.
Okay.
Like late in the game when like dynamics make sense of why that's necessary.
All right.
Well, it's such a cool move. Like I agree, mole votes are so fun. Like I get wanting to do it for fun, but it's just like, what do you gain? Are you gaining more than you lose?
Yeah. I guess in my mind, I thought that she had cleared it with the group. I didn't think that she was just like going rogue, and how would she like? It doesn't make any sense that she would not like. She'd have to explain it. Like
it really wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't make sense.
But I think that's what happened. Like I think she went rogue, which is, we don't say go rogue because that's different in Australian Survivor. That's a different thing. But rogue from last season is the joke I'm making. So no, but I want to believe she told them, but that preview on Talking Tribal looks bad. Ferris says that a line's going to be drawn in the sand. We don't see her doing it. And even if she told them, like I really think it'd be like, hey guys, I got this really great idea. We're going to do this, and then they're like, okay, and then they still have a conversation that's like, wow, okay. So really doing your own thing a lot, huh?
Yeah.
She'd really have to sell that it's good for all of them. And she'd have to do that before the vote. And if she did that, and then it's just a very different move than the one I saw on TV. And I'm having to do a lot of work to give her a lot of grace to kind of make stuff up about what happened. Like her coming in and being like, guys, and they love it. And they're like, oh my God, that's so fun. We're all doing that. That's not what I watched. But yeah, that's different. That's a different thing, and that would be a lot better. But I don't know that I can credit it because I didn't see that happen.
Okay. And then for the one, I struggled a little bit with the one. I thought about Eden, but I was just, I think ultimately the, spiraling ended up taking him out of contention for me. I really wanted to go with Kelly. I just thought that that she did a good job of not spiraling. And I thought that it would have got such a good reaction from you, Shannon.
Yeah, look, even the suggestion.
So angry about it. I was like, oh.
Quick question.
Yes.
I feel like I'm warring with people too much on podcast. Not too much. I enjoy it, actually. I think everyone knows it's in good fun. But, like, why is my thing with everyone being so mean? It's something I've been thinking about lately.
Why are you so mean to people on podcasts, you're asking?
Yes. All my long-term podcast dynamics are really contentious. You, Nick, not really Mike, Bryce, this is what I was thinking, Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
The whole draft is actually.
You antagonize us?
I don't, but now I'm thinking, do I antagonize you? Or you come in trying to upset me on my own podcast. You're like, oh, I'll do it for the look on Shannon's face. Maybe I'm being antagonized and I'm just fighting back. I'm the underdog. I'm not the like. I think that's what it is. I think that's what the trend. It's not that I'm so mean to everyone.
Who's to say?
I'm consistently bullied on even sometimes my own podcasts, and so that's
would that be bullying you to give Kelly a Chizy point?
Yes. Yes, it would be to give Kelly a Chizy point.
Isn't it my point? Isn't it my point to give to whoever I want as a rebel? As a rebel, you're making me want to.
Point. You know, I think that Chizy is like, it's such a good institution.
Because I'm a rebel, the more you tell me not to give Kelly a Chizy point, the more I want to give Kelly a Chizy point.
I'm concerned that the Chizy is turning into a vehicle to be mean to me, and it's something that I love, but it's like, does the Chizy need to end? Because my guest next week is Nick, and Nick's going to do the exact same thing. So is every week going to be this thing, and then it becomes a thing, so then people do it on purpose because they know that it gets me, so it's funny. So I should act like I don't care, because then they won't do it, but I can't do that because I am who I am.
You're too much of a titan to not care.
I don't think that's what being a titan is.
Titan of the Chizy.
I make the rules, and you know what the rules are? Don't do this. Don't do this on my Chizy. You make the rules,
and we break the rules.
Don't do that. Don't do it.
We had a great podcast with Nick on talking about traders.
Oh, that looks so fun. Yeah. He loves the Real Housewives.
Yes,
he really does. Yeah.
Yes. I will land on giving the one Chizy point to Ferris. Save Ferris.
Okay, great. I'm glad that. Okay, that's great. It's good to give strategic opinions on my Chizy rather than.
Yeah, Ferris, I mean, I can't necessarily like pinpoint like one major thing that he did, but the vibes were immaculate for Ferris, and just is, you know, a really fun person to have in the season.
I'm really glad
in the middle of everything. Yeah.
No, I'm really glad you've done this because I'm going to give 3 points to Mark. And I feel like Mark, to me, is so clearly the 6 points which he got, the winner of the Chizy. And I don't know that anyone else is like such a clear second this week. So I'm glad there's going to be space now. I think that's right for this week. Mark, it doesn't need to be said. He's been brilliant. Like we've all already talked about it, and he's been perfect. Like I have no notes for Mark. And so everyone else will go to it. Okay, so I'm going to give 2 to Eden. I kind of feel like I'm like the opposite of you, where like you didn't think the Kirby thing was so bad, so you're going to credit the positioning. That's where I am with Eden, where like I'm okay on the spiraling. I would have changed the split a little, but like I'm still okay with it. Upsetting Nathan is nothing to me.
You know, I can't believe he wasn't Mike Bloom's winner pick.
Well, he would have done better than Peter.
Yeah. Oh.
Wait, why do you think that? Just because he's kind of like Mike?
Yeah. Did you see Eden?
Yeah, and Eileen's kind of like me, but we don't bet on ourselves. Have you met me and Mike?
I wouldn't say that Eden is like Mike Bloom, but I feel like that, like, I can't believe like Eden doesn't have a show on post-show recaps.
Oh, you offering?
Hey, that's not my jurisdiction.
Well, I obviously love Eden. I'm gonna give him 2 points. You know, I felt like I want to like the Titans went to 2 tribal councils, so that's kind of like where my focus is. I feel like he was never actually in any danger. I'm not again as low on the spiraling, and Eden discount. Just gonna. It's not. I'm not. That's not why I'm doing this. But yeah, I think he's in a really good spot. I thought that he was a big part of that first move, and it set the tone so well. And it's so good to create the culture that will behoove you long term in such a long game, and even in the short games. Like super into empowering systems that are good for you. So I'm going to give 2 to Eden, and I'm going to give a point to Garrick.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I feel like he clocked the throw. I know that, you know, it was clear, but I love the moment. And he's part of
this,
in
like, loss prevention.
And exactly. And how did that go? So that's why he was took it so personally. He's part of this cool like underdog crew, Ferris, Kirby, and I feel like I'm glad you gave Kirby and Ferris points because they were the two that were in contention for me that I didn't give points to, and I'm glad you did because again that like evens out where a lot of that power has been. Ferris, I just felt like the weirdness of tribal council for me, the way that he might have accidentally tipped off Alex and then needed to bring it back, that kind of tipped Garrick over the edge for me, but I was kind of between the two of them. And then Kirby, she's so well positioned. I feel like she did really well in pushing the rebel move, but I just really didn't like the decoy move with everything I've seen of it. So I couldn't give it to her, but I'm glad you did. I feel like the points in general, like 6 to Mark wins the Chizy week 1, and then we've got 2 Eden, 2 Kirby, 1 Ferris, 1 Garrick. I like that a lot.
Well, I'm thrilled that we got it how you liked it.
Thank you. It's important to me.
Yes.
I have so little. Clearly.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
But that's the fun of the podcast, right? Where you get like a little worked up, but then you're happy by the end.
Look at you. Look at you. You're
Look
sadistic. Look, that's the fun of the podcast is to work me up and to upset me. Wow. So for the listeners, to get that precious ad money, we're going to upset me on my own podcast. Charles, I need a lawyer. I need an employment lawyer. Imagine admitting that on camera.
Mm-hmm.
You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm the victim in all of this. It's becoming really clear to me.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do kind of feel like I bullied Bryce. I actually don't think that was Bryce. I think Bryce was being perfectly lovely. I think that a lot of that was me. But Nick and you and Chappelle and Puya, all of you.
Yeah.
You're the bad guys. I'm aware.
But don't we have so much fun?
Do we?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I want to do the JLP tweets.
Oh, okay.
But I can't.
They're too inappropriate?
No, but good guess.
What?
You know how JLP was hacked a year ago?
Oh.
At the very end of Heroes versus Villains?
Yeah.
You know, they never solved that.
Oh,
it has been 10 months. No, it's really an indictment on where Twitter is right now, don't you think?
Sure.
That they were like, let's not even bother to try.
They don't even fix any of the problems.
No, now JLP
they're like, just make it that you can't search for Taylor Swift.
Yeah. And like,
if you can't search for her, then nobody can know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also JLP, also Hillary's Barbie tweet.
Mm-hmm.
A lot going on Twitter.
JLP, I felt like was really, the Speedo guys, like that was right up his alley.
In what way?
He talked about that was the Speedo battle in one of the battle royals, one of the steel cage matches.
And then Raymond said that too. He's like, because they were like hugging. Actually, Alex said to Jaden, he was like, "You're a big boy," and I was like, what is going on? I'm like, this is a dynamic that's very foreign to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Raymond was like, they're going to link up.
Yeah.
And then so that didn't look good either.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you notice as well that, and this is something I find interesting, when the Titans came in and Jess had been voted out, someone said, I need to check who, even though I've watched these episodes like 15 times, but someone said, oh, the women are really going. And then they themselves, and for reasons we understand, like they make sense, I'm not blaming anyone, but they also were between, to be fair, Kelly and Peter. But I think that the fact that it's being acknowledged in the culture makes me wonder if like that'll be like intentionally turned soon.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, quite interesting. Yeah. But you were going to say on JLP?
No, I just think that he was very into the Speedos. I think that he let Kelly have the moment of like
hitting on
objectifying Nathan.
Yeah.
And I think that Nathan is gonna. I think that we're gonna get the Nathan is going to put the moves on Kelly to get in an alliance at some point this season.
I pray I don't have to see that.
I think that there's gonna be like a honeypot action.
What?
Yeah,
don't tell me. What is that? Is that a thing?
He's gonna have to like really just flirt with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple other. Can I just give you some of my random musings from?
Very much. I mean, I was gonna suggest. I'm looking at JLP's Instagram to see if there's anything there, but no, there's not a lot. So is JLP gonna have to start getting like inappropriate on Instagram now?
TikTok.
I don't. Oh no! Please don't make me go to TikTok, JLP. I am old. Okay, give me a random musings.
Yeah, a lot of it is from the challenges, which I thought were very good. That have they done the tug of war, or was this just a like Squid Game ripoff?
I think they've done the tug of war.
Mm-hmm.
It rings a bell.
Yeah.
They've definitely done like pure strength on strength. Like one they like to do a lot is like when you're pushing and you have to get them around like the circular thing, which is kind of, I guess, a similar. But yeah, I think they've done tug of war. This isn't my jurisdiction, really.
Yeah, I feel like that all of a sudden, like people have like a lot of strategies about tug of war after Squid Game.
In terms of what?
Like, okay, everybody, like if you fall down on the floor, and then and then we'll jerk them. Like, I feel like the old man taught everybody a lot about tug of war.
Garrick?
The old man at the Squid Game.
I'm joking.
0-0-1.
It's fun to work you up, Rob. See how it feels? I knew who you meant.
Yeah.
The old guy from Squid Game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I've never watched either of the Squid Games.
Oh, okay.
But I know I'm in the like. I feel like I have, honestly, just through like absorbing it.
Yep. What was with the canned goods?
They like to troll.
That's what they do. Are you trolling with the rewards of the
challenge?
They always do this.
Don't you remember they did like fish and chips, and then it was like raw fish and like potatoes. They've done so many things.
Why? Why would they do that? Don't they want people to try for the rewards?
There's always like one troll reward at
and
least.
Then I thought, like, okay, the cans, like, did everybody have to like pick a can, and then you open the can, and maybe it was something good, and maybe it was like dog food?
Well, I don't think it was dog food.
No, but I'm saying, like, I thought that it was like that. Okay, everybody pick a can.
Yeah.
And then somebody had like a clue to an idol or something in the can. Like, I just felt like that it was like, oh, this is interesting, but it was nothing.
Well, they have done that before, where it's like you win baked goods, and then it's like, oh no, like Sam Webb has to choose who gets like the cake, but who gets like a little piece of toast. Like that's what they.
But don't you think there was something interesting there with like they took the labels off all these cans, and it's like, okay, unmarked cans. And I feel like everybody should have to pick what. There's no sharing, and you have to like sight unseen or like without opening it.
It's not that.
Everybody take a can.
They could have. It would have been interesting.
And maybe one of the cans has an advantage in it.
There was just an advantage in the bananas. Stop trying to choke these contestants on clues. Like we can't. They can never eat anything. They have to be like nibbling every single thing, unless they, there's gonna be a clue in everything. Then Jaden was like. Peaches, 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 peaches. Have you seen Mario?
Yes. Yeah, yes. Okay. I did see that in the movie theater also. And it was expensive.
Thank you. You saw Barbie twice.
But only once in the movie theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Titans had some great jackets.
Yeah, Valeria's.
Valeria's jacket. She was like a wet chicken.
Yeah. Do you think Jaden's funny? People like Jaden.
I don't remember him saying anything. He had like, I thought he was like likable. I don't remember him saying anything that was like hilarious.
Mike pulled this that he was like, when JLP went to, I think, like get the votes, he's like, it's just like the show, which I don't know how he knows, because I don't think he's ever seen the show. Like he couldn't remember like Outwit, Outplay, Outlast. And when he kicked the puzzle, people were like, Michelle Fitzgerald fan. I was like, he thinks he just invented kicking the puzzle. Like he just, but he was funny. I felt like he was like so chill with JLP in a way that made me laugh. He was calling JLP Jono, which is like the Australianification of Jonathan. I'm like, you're very comfortable with JLP so early. He was like, have a safe night, Jono. See you tomorrow. I like that. I thought he was funny. Okay, what else are your thoughts?
Let's see. I'm just flipping through everything. I did have, 1,500 words of notes this week.
You were preparing so much. And you were doing that on the treadmill.
Yeah, really?
How are you doing
I've got a good system.
Because how do I do that for my bike? Because I would save so much time if I could.
Yeah, I have an exercise bike also. I don't have as good of a system for that. The treadmill is actually very conducive to being able to watch a show and take notes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would love to do that on my bike, but all right.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's the majority. Yeah.
Note writing, treadmill walking, survival watching machine. Like that's incredible what you were getting done at that time. You were Titan.
Just a rebel.
No, that's not
what a
rebel does.
Yeah.
That's a Titan thing to do.
But overall, I liked most of what they did this week. Oh, Did I say most? I meant all of what they did this week.
Okay. I want to ask your winner pick. It doesn't count, obviously, because you've seen 1/8 of the season.
Okay. I mean, my winner pick is Mark. I just think that Mark is
pretty boring.
I know. Look, I was so impressed. How could I not?
I know. Well, yeah. I mean, that's just the 6-point Chizy getter.
Yeah, I have rooting interest, but I feel like that to me, Mark, just seems like a cut above. I would have said Mark after episode 1. That doesn't change anything, but that was probably his best one of the week.
Well, he was great across the board. Like,
Mark's just really, really good. And like I really mean everything that I said before. You know, he's not like a super colorful character, which is what I'm typically drawn to in terms of television, but just in terms of like a person that I would want to deal with professionally. Like Mark is just seems like a super sharp guy.
I feel like you've offered Eden, Mark, and Charles different forms of employment in this podcast. Like, Mark, what can we do? What can we collaborate on? What can we want to work with you? Did you feel like the votes, like, did you think, like, Frankie's definitely going, Jess is definitely going, Peter's definitely going, or was there suspense for you on how any of those votes
I was most surprised, I think, at the first vote. I really thought that I didn't think that the middle-aged mafia had Viola and Valeria,
because but they still would have had Jess and Charles.
Yeah, I just thought I thought that they did. And again, I was a little bit like coming in. I had not done any. I'm like, are there 10 people in the tribe? Like I was like, I honestly, I did not know if there were 10 or 12 people in the tribe when they were counting the votes.
Yeah,
I didn't look at it before this.
I
just jumped right in. Okay. I'm a rebel.
Stop it!
I don't care.
I knew you'd do that. That's not rebellious. The fact that you think that that's rebellious is why you're not a rebel.
Yes, I'm a rebel. I just start watching the show and I don't look at the cast list beforehand.
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Look at you.
And
I couldn't.
So I just thought that the fact that Frankie kept going back to them and saying like, hey, you hear Jessica? She wants to vote out the strong women. She thinks there's too many strong women in this group. And so I just felt like that, okay, well, if you're Viola and Valeria and you're hearing about that she wants to get out the strong women, then I just felt like that was like a really good like ace in the hole for Frankie that was going to keep, and I felt like that Frankie was coming, and maybe Frankie was like, hey, but I'm really loyal to Nathan and Jaden and Winna. That's my real alliance. But I felt like that the other women might have seen like, okay, yeah, let's do like a strong women thing and string along some of the like, meatheads in this group. So I kind of thought Frankie had the killer V's.
I just kind of felt like if Jess felt that way about it was pretty Frankie specific. And if she felt that way about the strong women, which it was good for Frankie to use, but like Jess is going to have no power and is probably out next regardless. But like, let's take that hit against Nathan. So Nathan especially, who's not including the V's, like, let's cut that out from under him. And as they said, like really depower Nathan, like send that message, create this group of this culture. And then like Jess is expendable.
And also I felt like that the middle-aged mafia, like I felt like that they also kind of went to Valeria and Viola last. So I kind of felt like that they might have sensed like, okay, well, we're at the bottom of this. Frankie is like looking at us pretty, high up. And so that was probably the most suspense I had for any of the tribal councils this week.
Yeah. They think close to Mark and Eden. They would be piling onto a 6 instead of, what became an 8. So I felt like I was I didn't think that Nathan and Frankie were going to get taken down. Like, I remember when Nathan had that post-challenge confessional where he said he was excited. I was like, oh, I would love for this to happen. But I obviously at that point didn't think it was going to happen. By the time I went to tribal, I felt pretty good that Frankie would go. In all of the tribal councils, I felt really strongly that those people would go. But I feel like that's fine because I don't need them to create like fake suspense. This is kind of like a Survivor South Africa thing. Like they'll tell a clear story, which I think is good. We'll get that. And if it's really like actively suspenseful, it'll be more meaningful because it'll be true. So I thought that was all fine. I'm okay with the edit. Like, yeah, in terms of spending so much time on like the Titans earlier on. And I think the people like, we didn't know the rebels, but by the end of the first week, we know way more people, as we've said, only a few are really kind of unknown to us. And I feel like they needed to give the Titans that much time because they built up this whole, like, they built up the cocky kids, the cool kids, and then they had to bring them down. Like, we needed to spend like that hour and a half with them to work out, like, to really, like, that was such a good, like almost bottle episode. Like, I was like, season over. Like, this is done. Like, this has been fun by itself. So it stood on its own. It needed that time. And I thought that was all, really good and really fun. And, like, no real complaints. Love the week. Really excited. We're off and running. Thanks for being my first guest, Rob. Sorry about the, the existential cry and the fighting and the dying. And I think I cried at one point.
Are you okay? I feel like I'm Elmo right now.
That's like literally all the time. Anyone can never ask me, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
I feel great right now. I'm really loving the season. I feel like I'm in such a good place.
Is Elmo a Titan or a rebel, do you think?
I think Titan.
A Titan of children's entertainment?
Yep.
Are any of the Sesame Street characters rebels?
I mean, I don't have kids and I haven't watched Sesame Street in like 28 years.
I feel like Ernie is more of a rebel.
What about Cookie Monster?
Cookie Monster, I think, is also a rebel.
He's a rebel. He's a monster.
Oscar the Grouch is a rebel.
Very rebellious group. And Elmo the Titan pulls it all together.
Yeah.
Let's do this with all pop culture.
Okay.
No, Rob, what's going on with you? Tell the listeners what's happening.
So much. Little show called The Traders going on. We have, I know many different countries around the world have traders. We have Traders US season 2 has been going on. We have some survivors. We have Big Brother people. We have people from The Challenge and The Housewives. And it's all happening. And every Thursday I get together with Puya Zambakili and we talk about it. We got a Traders feedback show going on as well. So be sure to check that out. And then it won't be long before we're talking about a brand new cast of Survivor 46 players. So we have 18 new players who are getting ready to play Survivor 46. And Mike Bloom and I are going to be talking about them as soon as we're allowed to. Because while we're rebels, got to follow some rules, Shannon. You want a podcast as long as we have? You got to follow some rules.
That's why you're the Titans of podcasting. That's why you're the Titan. If you were the rebel, it'd be different.
If we were the rebels, I guess we would be doing all these profiles and like a bit, but we gotta wait. We're gonna wait.
Yeah.
You gotta. That's part of being a rebel. You gotta know which rules you could break.
I don't think that is part of being a rebel. What is a rebel? Garrick's a rebel, and he's explicitly a cop who catches rebels. I think that that's been a bit this whole time. Like he's there to catch the rebels. It's the whole thing.
You think he's undercover? He's like Donnie Brasco?
That's what we thought. Maybe an undercover cop, and then they have to catch him. Yeah. I don't know. There's so much going on.
I do also just want to take this moment and mention that we have a great Patron community of people who love all of these international reality shows from all around the world. It's a very nice thing that we have this community on RHAPups podcast where people from all over the world, Australia and the United States and Canada, and really just people are everywhere and they all love Survivor and Big Brother and The Traders and all of these different formats. And I like to think that we have a very nice place to all get together and discuss it and not be horrible and commiserate and talk about like all of our favorites and all of the things on Rob as a podcast. And we try to make it very easy for people to watch the international reality shows as well together when you go to robasawebsite.com/patron.
Yes, very important for the people. Many people, where do you watch it? I mean, those people are probably not here listening to this because those people worked it out, but maybe it was hard for them. It could be easy.
Yeah, could be easy. Yes.
Yeah.
And Shannon, while I cannot promise that I will be always up to date, I am very into the season, and at the very least, I will have to watch the show to keep up with your coverage.
Oh, well, thank you. I thought you were going to say you'd have to watch the show to keep up on the treadmill.
I really am liking it. It's a really very fun way, but I won't have to take notes, so I don't know if I need to be on the treadmill.
You can just watch it on the treadmill.
Yeah.
You can go on the bike. This is great. Sure. Exercise show.
I can watch it on the bike.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've got with what so from a check-in perspective, like we'll see. I think that's how we might check in here and there. Like might actually check in, not what we were doing in the last year's check-in, which was just an hour and a half podcast every week. Well, that's just a recap, Rob. So, so we might check in. I've got a lot going on. Here are those things. Talking Tribal. That's out with George and Chrissy. Episodes up on 10 Play. It's also up on YouTube. I've linked to that. So that's for any global fans. The podcast is coming. A lot of people ask me where the podcast is. They're actually the person who produces the podcast, so pushes them out in 10, had a bereavement and had to go overseas. So unfortunately, there's been some stuff in the back end there. It's definitely coming. But I recommend the show. We've got a new segment called Glory or Death. We have Guess Who boards. I sat on George's lap at one point. We're doing a lot. Not on purpose. I don't know. That made it sound worse than it was. Yeah. I mean, you should watch it.
Sounds like is there a new cuddle crew?
Well, I was trying to push him out of the hosting chair. So I don't know if that's like as much a cuddle crew thing, but I was trying to host. I think that you guys should watch it rather than the podcast. I mean, I don't sit there in the makeup chair for you guys to listen to me. Right. So, but yeah, the podcast will be coming out. The exit interviews are out. There's no Peter, as mentioned, because she was working. And like, that's fine, I guess, for people in Australian Survivor. She had stuff going on, but we did get Frankie and Jess. So that's already out. What else? Next week, as I mentioned, Nick will be here to bully me because it's so fun for everyone to do that. The events next week, Johnny Fairplay, the aforementioned Johnny Fairplay is coming to Australia for what should have been week 1, but it's actually week 2. Monday night, Melbourne. Tuesday night, Sydney. I will be at both of those events in Melbourne and Sydney with a bunch of players. Wednesday night, there's no episode, but there's a Brisbane event where you can meet the players and they're going to talk about the show. So go to George's Instagram for all of those details, and hopefully I'll see a lot of you there. And then this is not going to be on video. Usually the recaps will be, that's what you can listen to. People on the podcast for Talking Tribal. You watch Talking Tribal. This will be in the International Survivor RHAPups feed. So subscribe to that so you don't miss anything. Follow me at Shannon Guss, where I put out all that content. I'll probably do a bit of a wrap-up post after this week because I don't want people to miss anything. There's so much going on. But put this on YouTube to tell you, hi, YouTube people, Australian Survivor is happening. Rob and I spoke about it this week, and now I will speak about it. Exits every week, recaps every week on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Talking Tribal every week. That'll be on YouTube. Listen to the things. Watch them. Do what can be done. And that's my whole, that's everything I have.
Well, Shannon, you're off to an amazing start once again.
Thank you.
It's such an honor to get to talk about the show with you.
It's fun. I had a good time.
I love hearing you break this all down.
This was a fun week. I mean, it was hard strategically because there weren't a lot of marginal decisions. I felt everything was pretty clear cut, but it was fun to talk about it. And I love the season, and I love that instead of talking about it, we talked about Barbie and you know.
We talked about it. Come on, this is a 2-hour and 15-minute podcast.
And how many minutes of that hour was me Googling different life expectancies and Google?
Yeah.
Like 20, 30 minutes.
That's it.
We had fun. Yeah. I'm the host. I should be wrapping this up. Rob, thank you so much. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time, Shannon.
I'm glad. I'm really glad.
Time flew by.
It really did. I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. Thank you to you all for listening. Fun season in store. I'm wrapping up, but I realize I have something else to say. I'll pause. The show's on Sunday now as well. I think it's important to tell the people that. So it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's going to be, as we said, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And how long will it go on for? They have announced I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here from March 24th. Now, they could change that date the week before, right? Maybe. But if that's the case, it seems like it'll be 3 a week for 8 weeks. I really wanted to give that information because people don't know. When is it? Sunday night, Australian time. That's like a Sunday morning ET. Monday night, Tuesday night, probably that consistently for 8 weeks. I was wrapping up. Thank you all. Thank you to the team. Thank you to Rob. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.